Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
I'll make an ascot out of that.
There you go. There you go.
Tropical Ascot.
Tropical Ascot.
That was a reggae band, wasn't it?
Tropical Ascot.
Tropical Ascot.
It was Tropical Ascot.
It was Ziggy Marley in the Tropical
Ascot.
Ascot.
After you score, you got a Tropical Ascot, eh? Yes, my Jamaican is Irish.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, June the 16th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, Harry Lug Nutz.
Hello, Harry Lug Nutz.
Pete will be along shortly again. He got tied up once again. He'll be along in a moment or two. But on that note, how the hell are you doing today?
You know, I don't know. It's been one of those days. It's been 100 degrees out here for the last 3 days. Or it was 102 yesterday. And I've been outside most of the day, so I'm kind of beaten down and tired. But
lovely.
I'm not complaining because you don't have to shovel heat.
This is true. Some people do.
Most
people don't.
Sure.
Most
if
people
you're working in a coal-fired plant, I guess.
This is true. You're technically shoveling heat.
That's right.
I actually saw somebody posted on Facebook today, or maybe it was Instagram, a picture of their thermometer in their car. In Arizona, it was 131 degrees.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah,
that's hot.
A little bit.
Yes.
So small boys were bursting into flames. It was like
that's right. Yeah, you can crack your windows all you want. It's not going to help anything.
No, it wasn't.
That's why the number one selling accessory in Arizona is a remote car starter.
Yes. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yes.
And does that guarantee the air comes on too, or you just have to make sure you leave it on before you?
Guess you got to leave it on, or else you need oven mitts to open the door to get in there.
True story.
Yeah.
True story, Sam.
Yes, you can fry pizza on the hood.
So you can cook your lunch while you're driving home.
Sure, if you don't die of heat exhaustion. I don't. You know, I've been in the desert. I've been in the desert in a horse with no name. I've been in the desert in, let's see, I guess the latest was probably June, and people say you get used to it. I don't know. I mean, it's hot here, but that extra 20 degrees or 10 degrees is right. It's pretty rough.
I've never been in an Arizona desert. I've been in the desert in California, and it was like $1.20, $1.15, $1.20, but it's like it's a dry heat. They say it's a
dry heat. So you don't sweat when you die. You just
bake,
frizzle.
Well, that's the thing. You don't realize you're cooking until
right.
You look down and see the sizzling happening.
That's right. You just look like a lizard.
Right. Exactly. Unbelievable. But so there's some baseball going on.
There is some baseball going on. There is. The Yankees squeaked one out last night. They actually scored a run already today. I think they're maybe figuring out whether or not they want to have Aaron Boone as their coach for the second half of the season.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know who played first base last night, but he hit a home run. I don't know where he came from.
What was his name?
Gettleman. I thought it was Dave Gettleman.
Dave Gettleman actually played first base for the Yankees last night.
Yeah,
it was his first major league hit. It was a home run too.
Yeah. Well,
it was pretty funny.
You know, look, injuries aside, the Yankees are 2 games over 500. They're -6.
Yep.
In their plus minus, and you can't blame it on the pitching. I mean, yes, they've blown some games, and yes, they've put a lot of, some of the guys like Talon and even Montgomery and Herman have not been as consistent as you like, but they're just not scoring runs. They're not getting on base. And, they scored 6 runs. That's great. They have to manufacture them. I would like to see them be able to manufacture runs and drive in runners in scoring position. They're still relying on the long ball, and that's going to help them win a few games against teams that are hovering around 500 like themselves.
Sure.
But it's not going to help them. I mean, like they're 7.5. They were 9 games out of first place earlier this week. So
a game and a half, and now they're instead of fourth place, they're in third place. So,
yeah. They're it's nice to see them finally beating a team in their division.
Sure.
So, but they just seem to be a little anemic, and their defense has been pretty dismal. And look, they're vulnerable when they play National League teams on the road because one of their best hitters is no longer good enough to play right field.
Right.
Judge has been hurt again, and
they have a lot of
blah.
That's the problem. They have a lot of bats that should be coming around that aren't, or maybe they're starting to come around, and they don't have many positions for them because they can't play much in the field anymore, or as well as they used to.
Right.
Whatever. But
it's really look, everybody's numbers are down this year, but I think in some ways it's really about the Yankees getting on base, working the pitch count, something the Yankees have always been good at, which they're not doing this year, and making sure they get that run in the third inning that maybe doesn't seem important but winds up being very important. That's what they're really missing this year. They're missing the intangibles. And look, when LeMahieu gets more than one hit, the Yankees win. He's 0 for 2 tonight. I think he was 2 for 4 with a walk last night and scored a run on a wild pitch. He's at the top of the lineup. He really does dictate what's going on with them. He's not having a horrible year, but his on-base percentages and averages are considerably lower. He had a decent beginning of the week. He's 0 for 2 tonight, but he's already scored a run. So he scored their only run. So, I mean, that's my point in all of this, is that they're still juggling this lineup. Judge is back today. Stanton's in the lineup. They got Torres, hitting third. I like the lineup that they have in here today. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it can produce a win. Garrett Cole's pitching. These are the games that the Yankees cannot afford to lose, any of them.
You say Garrett Morris was pitching?
Yeah, Garrett Morris is pitching, and Elaine is going to and Chevy Chase is pitching next. Yeah, it's this is what they can rely on. I thought Herman had turned the corner. I thought that maybe Jordan Montgomery was going to give them something a little bit more, but their pitching, though, is not the problem. It's the fact that they have scored. They have not given up an exorbitant amount of runs. They just can't seem to score them.
They haven't. Yeah, exactly. I mean, their run differential is -6, and you usually expect to see the Yankees like plus a lot. And but they're not minus a lot either, though. So they're that's.
No, I mean, if you look at where they're at, I think they have the second best runs against in the division. They're just hovering right around Baltimore territory with runs scored. Right. And that's a recipe for disaster. I think that some of the problems with their lineups being exposed. We've talked about this before. They're very right-hand dominant in their lineup. They've had injuries to some of their better players, and some of their, at least from last year, some of the players that have been run producers for them. They can't seem to shake this injury bug, which I think is prevalent not only in baseball but in all sports right now. And even when they have a lock, the Yankees of years past would be able to close games out. Chapman's having a good year, but he's had some games where he hasn't been able to seal the deal. And they seem to wind up in a lot of extra inning games. They finally have won a couple of those, but they don't perform well. They're not built to win those extra inning games. You have to have a knockdown closer who can really shut it down and not put the ball in play.
And they used to have that.
They used to have that. But we got spoiled by that. I mean, they had the best closer in the history of the game, but Chapman is good, postseason aside.
Right.
But he's not perfect, and so that's the difference, I think, for the Yankees being where they're at right now and 10 games above 500. If they're 10 games above 500, we're probably not talking like this.
No, not at all, because that's right about where they, you'd expect them to be a little bit more than that, but 10 games above 500, we wouldn't be having any of these conversations.
No.
And Cashman, did you see Cashman's interview the other day?
Yeah, he didn't seem overly thrilled with a lot of things, and he's sort of writing it off. I think he's kind of riding it out. Maybe he's riding his own time out. I don't know.
I think he might be worried that the handwriting's on the wall for himself as well, because you got to blame a lot of that on him. Boone didn't go out and sign these people. He did. And
no, I think the one issue that I've had with the Yankees, and there's a lot of this going on in baseball, especially with so much reliance on analytics, is I'm a big believer in having a consistent lineup. Now, when injuries occur, it's hard to do. You have to make adjustments. Sure. But how many times have the Yankees had the same lineup this year? I'm guessing it's been less than 10 times, maybe less than 5 times.
Probably even less than 5, yeah.
Yeah. And that, I think, becomes a little bit of a problem, you know.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah.
No consistency. It's not a good thing.
And they're just, I think a lot of the players that the Yankees have, you know, we've been hearing for years, this is what we're building around. This is what we're building around. Well, the time is now to make a decision. These guys are in the prime of their career and they're not performing. And
it's almost as if they need like one thing to get them kick-started. And that something could be what I've been saying since the beginning of the season. And it'll definitely help Cashman's issue, if there is any issue with Cashman and management.
Right.
And that's go out and sign Trevor Story.
Well, you know, is it Story or is it somebody else? I mean, the Yankees, I never thought I'd say this, but the Yankees desperately need an outfielder. And as good as Trevor Story is,
they've had like 9 of them, and now
I know, and they have none, and especially if they're going to wind up playing, you know, interleague play. I would love to see. I would like to see Trevor Story here. And this might be a 1 year, kind of half a year kind of deal, but I would like to see the Yankees go get Charlie Blackmon. Because I think that solves a lot of their issues in the outfield, and it gives them somebody who's a great defensive player who can hit and get on base. And you know what?
Sure.
It might actually be able to have Blackmon lead off and have LeMahieu, you know, move down to second or third, put Judge in the third spot, which is where I think he belongs, and then not put so much pressure on the cleanup spot.
Well, maybe they can actually go to Colorado and get a package deal for both Blackmon and Story.
Well, you know, they've done pretty well. I mean,
Colorado has done stranger things.
Everybody was really excited about Troy Tulowitzki. I was the one person saying, look, the Yankees just signed DJ LeMahieu. I know DJ LeMahieu has gone under the radar until he went to New York. That I knew that what he would bring to this team.
People knew who DJ LeMahieu was.
Not a lot.
Not as many as should have probably, but there were people that knew. I mean,
but
did you see? Speaking of Trevor Story, did you see that one play? I guess it was yesterday.
Yeah,
the pickoff play at second.
Yeah,
did you see it?
Yeah,
did you see it, Pete?
No, did not. Did not see it.
Runner on first was stealing second, and the pitcher stepped off and threw to Story, who was covering second. Threw it high in midair. He grabbed the ball and reached down and tagged the runner out.
We don't want any of that. That's
the way I used to do it.
There's no place for that on the Yankees.
No, not at all.
No. And look, Story's not helping his cause right now because he's having one of his worst years. Mm-hmm. Blackmon, it seems like everybody who's been a established player, with the exception of maybe Vlad Guerrero Jr., and he's not as established as Story or any of these other people we're talking about.
Right.
Their numbers are down. It's just their numbers are down. And maybe now that we found all the cameras and all the sticky gunk and everything else, maybe that won't be the case. I don't know. But I don't think that's really the issue. I think it's become a very pitching dominant game. And then there's games where it's 10-8 and people go nuts. But it's on the whole, it seems like people are not working the count, and they're
no, the batters are not working.
They're not getting on base. They don't know how to.
They don't know how to manufacture a base runner, and a couple of base runners, and a couple of runs.
If you put somebody on second base, me, and Pete could get that guy home 50% of the time.
Yeah.
I'd go as high as
really
60%.
Yeah, now, granted, I would just be leaning into a fastball to get hit by
to get hit, and then I'd lean one in behind you. That gets him over to third, and Pete leans in behind me.
I would try and get out of the way, but still get hit.
Right.
But the run scores. So there you go.
Yeah, and the pitcher gets tossed.
Which is why we can get the runner in. Right. So, but in any event,
it seems like baseball's opening up a little bit. It just seems like there's a big shift, and the teams that are lighten it up a little bit are the teams that, are always a surprise. The Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants are having a good year. It's interesting where things are heading. There's a lot of parity. Right?
There's a ton of parity. Whatchamacallit? I'm just reading a couple of things here. I'll bring them up in a second. I was just going to say, as far as the the ticky tack and the sticky tack and
Yeah.
spider tack and all of that stuff. The obviously you both read it. The Major League Baseball is cracking down on illegal substances effective Monday, June 21st. It's next Monday. Pitchers will be prohibited from using spider tack or their favorite, which is appears to be sunscreen mixed with rosin. They can't use any of that anymore.
What's the SPF?
I know they usually use 30, but sometimes they actually go up to 100.
Most days I come home with a lot of sunscreen mixed with sawdust.
Exactly.
I don't use it to throw pitches. Yeah.
No. But umpires will actually be doing periodic checks on pitchers throughout the games, and any pitcher who is caught using a foreign substance from Monday forward will be ejected and suspended.
Yeah.
So they're cracking down. And they said there was a report out that, whatever pitchers were using it, they've backed off, obviously knowing this was coming. Whatever. And they said that they've noticed over the last several days or week or whatever it's been that they've noticed an uptick in a downtick in spin rate and an uptick in batting average. I don't think this is the case. I don't think you're going to see everything switch back to what it was 2 years ago.
I think we're having some of the best basketball in the history of the NBA in the last few years, and we're talking about whatever it's called. What is it called? Something tack?
Spider tack.
Spider tack, and the NFL. Yeah, and I don't understand it.
Well, you want to know the league average numbers here? Mm-hmm. I think we talked about this about a month ago.
Right.
League average batting average by team or overall is remaining steady at 238.
Yeah.
Remaining
steady at 238. There you go.
Well, 313 is slugging is 398, ops is 711. Here's this is great.
It's the on base percentage that is staggering.
The on base percentage is 313.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Astros lead batting average with 274.
Yeah.
Which is pretty respectable.
Which in the 70s would have been pretty close. I mean, would have been leading the league, Yeah. And the Astros are also made of players who can fabricate runs and are good hitters.
Right.
And they've lost a few of those to other teams, but that's why the Astros have won a World Series and have been in it for the last few years.
Exactly.
Now, granted, some of that might have to do with some cameras in the outfield, but that's the other story that was out here today is that, everybody had cameras in the outfield.
Wasn't that a movie back in the 90s?
Cameras in the outfield.
Cameras in the outfield.
Yes.
Danny Glover was in it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a former wedding videographer who
Danny Glover.
Video technology to help the Angels win a pennant.
Danny Glover and Bridget Fonda as the scrappy outsider.
The scrappy team owner's daughter.
That's right.
And was also happened to be a great base running coach.
That's right.
Amazing.
Nobody gave her a chance.
And Steve Buscemi was the IT guy.
Of course.
Who was getting...
It's the 90s. He was
paid off. Getting paid off by the A's to sabotage the team.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make him a manager 34 years ago.
Exactly.
So he stayed on as the IT guy. And
that's right.
This year was the year he gets his revenge.
Brought in Bridget Fonda to help him manage the team, and the old school Danny Glover, who is people think was portraying Don Baylor.
Right.
Movie writes itself.
That's right.
The this just in, DeGrom had struck out 8 and had a whatever you would call it, like a third or fourth inning, perfect game going into that point, and he's out of the game. He walked off the diamond after the third inning, I believe I saw, and walked right down in the tunnel, right shoulder soreness.
Mm.
So last Friday, when he left the game after I believe it was the 6th inning, he had right forearm
tightness,
tendinitis.
Tendinitis.
That doesn't bode well. I think you got to put him on ice for a little while.
So he needs to skip a start. Is what he needs. He's just
maybe
throwing the hell out of that ball. He needs to
hit.
He needs to skip one start. Can he
DH in interleague play?
Yeah, right. But the Mets are up 3-1, and it is the top of the 4th right now. Looks like 1 out, 0-2 on the batter, runner on first.
It's starting to be the dog days of baseball, and we're gonna see things shake out around the All-Star game, and I think you're going to see some. I think you're going to see some changes in managers.
I think you are too. Reed Foley is in for the Mets, and he promptly gave up a run already. So it was 3-0. Now it's 3-1. But in any event,
the Mets are 9 games over 500, and they're 5 games over the Phillies. And I thought, the Phillies were one team that I thought would be a surprise and kind of challenge the Mets this year. I mean, that division is the Mets are the only team above 500. I mean, the Braves are 4 games under 500. I mean, with the Phillies, the Braves, and the Nationals, I mean, there's been some disappointment, which is helping the Mets' cause.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the Mets seem to be able to put together games where they're winning. They're only plus 21.
Yep.
It's almost like they don't know any better.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, and they're going to have to go. They're going to have to go through a lot of arms in the bullpen tonight. So hopefully Reed Foley can pull it together and give them long relief. Otherwise, I think the Cubs are going to find a way to win this game. I mean, they've pulled 2. The Cubs won 5 straight. I know and the Mets have been playing good ball. I mean, right now their last 10, they're 7-3. They took the first 2 from the Cubs, but hopefully they find a way. But as far as DeGrom goes, just a couple of notes. He's the fastest. He is the quickest starting pitcher to 100 strikeouts, and he did it in 61 2/3 innings to start a season. Since the mound moved to its current location in 1893.
Which is
I'm glad that
completely arbitrary marker.
Yeah. I'm glad the mound moved when they built the new Shea Stadium.
Exactly.
He's thrown the most strikes since the Fan Man landed in the center of the field.
Right.
But we're talking
during the All-Star game in 1962.
We're talking 128 years, though. I mean, that's a long time,
No,
Anyway,
if there's ever a year where it's going to happen, it's going to be this year.
He lowered his ERA, before today anyway, and I'm sure it's even lower. It's lower at this point, but he lowered his ERA as of last Friday through 10 games to .56.
Yeah.
That beat
Here's the question, though.
Yep.
Is this a team that, despite all the odds and the injuries, they seem to win in spite, or perhaps to spite, their manager?
Yeah.
Who continues to make really questionable head-scratching, boneheaded moves.
I've sat almost every game and said, why the hell is he doing that? And they still win.
Every game, there's something that you go, what the? It's like they just don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like you said, they don't know any better.
But right, like an all-rookie team that just doesn't know what pressure is. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of ninth graders.
Right.
They played a lot of games in division so far, and they're taking advantage. To their credit, they're taking advantage of these other teams. Slow start or maybe the reality.
You think about it, though. I mean, they were beaten up on teams that were lower than them. With losing records, but you know what? They played 7 in a week and a half. They played 7 games against the Padres. The Padres are one of the best teams in the league. They took 4 out of 7. They won the season series with the Padres. So. That's what 90% of their damn starters on ice. And
they're so far handling the Cubs, which is a pretty good team.
Right.
And the other thing is, we talk about what is it? Is it still 6 games that they have to make up?
They still have to make up 6 or 7 or 8.
We go, wow, they're only in for. Look, even if they lost all those games, they'd be right there.
Right.
So it's not like they're really only in first because of
those games. Those are all losses. I mean,
that's what I mean.
But the games they got to make up are teams that they've already played and beaten on.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's to make everybody think that they're losses? Those games. It doesn't make any sense.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think I could shut off baseball for a month and come back and just be fine with it right now. It's just it's where things are at. Look, I think the Chicago White Sox are the best team in baseball right now.
Yeah, they're plus 107.
Yeah, they're just
it's insane right now.
They seem to know what they're doing. Again, the Yankees. Didn't the Yankees sweep them or win 3 out of 4 against them? And then they've gone. Then they've gone on this tank job. I think that we're going to see some. I think by the All-Star break, we're going to start to see where the season is heading. I think you're going to see some teams start to separate themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
You might not have it's shaping up where you might not have that many races for the division titles this year. It might all come down to the wild cards again.
Could you imagine if a bunch of the wild cards are actually sub 500 teams?
Yeah, it could be.
That'd be.
I mean, I think Tampa and Boston will battle it out. In the American League, hopefully the Yankees can make a run at it. But even Toronto's, now 8 games back. Yeah. But the White Sox are already 5 games up on Cleveland.
Right.
Oakland and Houston will battle it out. The Mets are already 5 games up on their nearest competition. And interestingly enough, the Brewers, the Reds, and the Cubs and the Cardinals, that's probably the most interesting division in baseball. The Dodgers are starting to come back to life. They're only 1 game behind the Giants now, but we'll see. We'll see if the Padres are 5.5 games out. The Padres have lost to teams like the Mets. Even the Rockies have beaten the Padres a few times. So we shall see. It's going to be an interesting second half. But my prediction is Aaron Boone is gone.
I would say you're right, and I would say I don't know if it's going to be in season though. They might, Cashman might pull a couple of things and obviously make some moves at the trade deadline. Whether it is something like, Trevor Story or another shortstop or Charlie Blackmon, like you said, or whoever, and see what comes of it. But if something doesn't come together and they don't turn it around at some point, I think you're right. I think Boone's gone after the season.
Yeah, and they're gonna run out of time. Anything.
That's what we were talking about before you came on. It's like
they're going to run out of time to mount a comeback because
they're going to run out of time with these guys in the prime of their career too. And you have to be in the game to win it. You can't be on the sideline nursing injuries all the time.
And it looks like neither Tampa Bay nor Boston are flukes.
No.
And look, the Yankees are a game over at home and a game over away, and 2 games under against 5 greater than 500. The other teams are winning.
The Yankees are not a bad team.
No, they're not. They really aren't. They're not putting anything.
But if they don't change course, they're going to find themselves 10 games out of first place.
Yeah,
by the All-Star break.
What's their longest winning streak they've had this year?
3. I think it's 3.
Yeah. John Donovan just said, I'm sure he's referring to the Mets, obviously. He said, we did that with Terry, too. I'm not sure what you meant by that, John. Just right back in and let us know exactly what
it doesn't managerial change even mean anything anymore with these players.
You know what?
Back in the day, it was historic. Some of the Yankees' biggest comebacks came when George Steinbrenner said, we're making a change. And they did, and it did change the course.
Well, to your point, what Pete said before, it seems as if the Mets are, his decisions. I guess he was talking about that. There you go. It seems as if the Mets are able to win these games in spite of what Rojas is throwing out there.
Well, it's harder. It's harder to manage. It's harder to manage a National League team. I'm sorry. It is. It's a harder thing to do.
But to your point, they're winning. The managing is a little less important. It's not important, but it's a little less important than it was 30, 40 years ago. Yeah,
I think it's way less important before the game. Right. Those kind of decisions are made by the analytics. Who's going to start against who, and this and that.
Sure.
And I think that's where you don't get, what is the image of the old school manager? The rumpled guy. Let the kid stay out there another inning,
Sure.
Or there's this superstar.
I got a hunch he's due.
We pay this guy $10 million a year, and he never does.
Sometimes the guys making hunches or sticking with their guy or not sticking with somebody and making the tough calls. Look, Joe Torre didn't rely on analytics. I think he did a pretty good job as a manager.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how we think of
Sure.
what was just really, until not that long ago,
I think
baseball manager's job was to kind of feel those things out.
And I think a lot of managers these days are, especially in the National League, they're gonna wear their bullpen out before 3/4 of the season is done.
Yeah.
Because they do not allow anybody to stick around in a game anymore.
Nobody goes into a second inning who's not a starter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. There's no reliever who pitches.
And you can't close one inning 2 nights in a row. What kind of bullshit is that?
No, you got it. Yeah. Well, a couple of them do. Like for instance, Diaz actually closed on Saturday and Sunday or Friday and Saturday, didn't on Sunday, and then closed on Monday. So, 3 out of 4 days he closed. So, I mean, that's something there. But for the most part, you're right, though. And John Donovan actually just wrote back, and he says, name a manager who is tactically brilliant.
No one, because they're not allowed to be.
Yeah,
even if they are, they're not allowed to be.
They're not allowed to be. They have to listen to the tactically brilliant statisticians sitting behind the
they got to listen
computer.
to a thick book full of numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder
what's his name? Who used to manage Boston and now manages Cleveland, or vice versa. I think he still, was. You're right. It doesn't make much sense anymore. But they need something. Some of these teams are doing it despite not having that manager, and some of them I think are relying too much. I don't think the Yankees' success. I don't think any of the Yankees' success has come from Aaron Boone,
No.
But I think now when you have to be able to motivate and kind of do some things. The other thing too is I think it's part of it has to do with the other coaches. That's really the thing that sometimes comes along with the managerial changes. You get the change in the hitting instructor. You get the change in some of these other coaches, which sometimes can get players out of a comfort zone and force somebody to come in and actually look at something a little differently and help somebody get out of a slump.
Right. And I got a feeling that, a lot of the time you're going to see, like, for instance, with the Mets and so forth with Rojas or whatever, a couple of these other, the bench coaches or the base coaches or any of these other coaches, they're the ones that they're working with them a little bit more, in their ears before games. So, they're still in their mind or they're still in their ear during the game too. So, which proves the point that we were saying before, where it's not that much in-game managing isn't what it used to be. It's still important, obviously, to a point, but, especially if you're going to, it's more important to make not to make bad decisions than it is to necessarily make good decisions.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
What are you going to do? So anyway, just for instance, just for your information, I should say, Reed Foley got out of the inning with just the 1 run. So the Mets are up now. It's the bottom of the inning.
Hanging on. They're hanging on. What's with the Pirates get up?
Yankees are losing 2-1 in the top of the sixth. So would you say?
How come you're wearing the Pirates gear?
Well, we'll find that out in the top 10 list tonight, won't we? Speaking of that, why don't we go to the top 10 list?
Top 10 list.
I opened it. I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Well, you can look through it, breeze through it, as you will, as I read the names off of these. We'll start tonight's top 10 list, brought to you by nobody.
Not yet.
10,
not yet.
Top 10 right fielders in Major League Baseball history. Top 10 right fielders in Major League Baseball history. Folks, in true, get on with the podcast fashion, we have 12. So
that's it?
That is it. 12, only 12. We have a 3-way tie for 10th, and same as last week, as a matter of fact. Worked out the same way. We have a 3-way tie for 10th, and then 9 through 1 are all singles. So there you go. So we will start with one of our 3 number 10s, Mr. Ichiro Suzuki. He was, he played a lot over in Asia.
Switzerland.
Was it Switzerland? I thought it was Japan.
He was
French, wasn't he?
Ichiro is definitely Swiss.
Ichiro's Swiss. Yeah. Yes, there you go. Ichiro. He played in the Oryx Blue Wave for the first 9 years of his career. Then he came to the States and was on Seattle. He was on the Yankees for a few years, the Marlins for a few years, and went back to Seattle to wind up his career. 7-time All-Star, Japan Series champion in '96, 3-time Pacific League MVP in Japan, of course. And these are all Japan numbers, by the way. 7-time Gold Glove, 7-time Best 9 awards, 2-time Matsutaro Shoruki Award. There we go. And then a couple other minor Japanese league, or was it NBP, whatever that stands for. Major League Baseball, 10-time All-Star, 10 seasons straight, 2001 through 2010. Major League American League MVP in 2001. Rookie of the Year in 2001. It was his 10th season playing professional baseball. He was a rookie. So 10-time Gold Glove Award winner. 3-time Silver Slugger Award, 2-time American League batting champion, American League stolen base leader, and he has the Major League Baseball record, 262 hits in a single season. Ichiro Suzuki, guys.
Not a bad resume.
He was on my bubble here, and that's why I think he's number 14. Sounds about right.
13, 12, 13. Something like that.
Ichiro was a great player. I mean, I think like a lot of the Japanese players, it would have been. I mean, I would love to have seen Matsui and Ichiro, play some of their earlier years in Major League. And look, Ichiro, one of the things that I think is one of his greatest accomplishments is he played deep into his career, and he was productive the entire time.
Yep.
Those later years. I mean, how old was he when he retired? 40?
No, more than that.
44.
40. He retired in 20. He retired 2 years ago. 45.
45.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good until he was 44 and a half.
Almost 46. Yeah. Almost 46 when he retired.
Yeah. He was an old school player. He would be one of these guys that would be sort of frustrated with the state of hitting in baseball today, for sure.
I think he would love it because he'd just go the other way.
Right. Oh yeah, well he would be great. What I'm saying is that everything that he was able to do, no one can do anymore. Right. I mean, you're going to put the shift on for Ichiro? Come on. Yeah. I mean, he's like Rod Carew. It's like, I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to drill it right there.
Yeah, go ahead. You stand over there. I'm going that way.
Yeah.
10 straight seasons of 200+ hits.
Yep.
His on base percentage was incredible, and he was an incredible fielder, and he was
a really good fielder.
He was a great base runner, and he was a good baseball player. He's one of the he's obviously one of the best ever to come out of Japan, and he's probably going to wind up in the Hall of Fame if he's not already. I don't think he's eligible yet, right?
No, he's not eligible until 24.
He'll probably go in, I guess, as a Mariner.
I would imagine. Yeah.
That's where. That's where his best years were. Yeah. I mean, Jesus, just almost 3,100 hits. Yeah. And how many years did he play? 9 years before he came here to the States, right?
He played nine seasons, 92 through 2000. He played 9 seasons in Japan before he came to the States. His career batting average in Japan was 353, and his career batting average in the States was 311.
Yeah.
And he played
center field though too, didn't he? And also left field. I mean, he was kind of all over the outfield, wasn't he?
Only a couple of times.
Only a couple of times.
Right
primarily.
Yeah. He has over 3,000 hits in
Major League Baseball.
In Major League Baseball. Yeah. He also has almost 1,300 hits in Japan. So that's almost he's literally
getting close to
encroaching on 4,500 hits.
Yeah. What's the all-time record? 40. I think it's 44, right?
I think 44. Yeah, he's a little shy of the record, but if you put them together, he would be. Yeah,
he would exceed it if you put them together. Yeah.
10,374 plate appearances, 1,080 strikeouts. So basically 1 every 10.
Yeah,
right.
Which is pretty impressive.
Unbelievable.
He was really a 4-tool player. He didn't hit a lot of home runs, but he was pretty spectacular at those other 4 tools.
How many runs did he score? I mean, that's really. I think we put too much emphasis sometime on the home run. The home run's great if there's multiple people on base, but the home run, if you're only hitting solo home runs, it still counts the same as a run scored if you didn't hit a home run.
Yeah, but I mean, Ichiro's not. I mean, he hit home runs. He had 117 in Major League Baseball. He had 118. Yeah. He had 117 in Major League Baseball in 20 years.
What I'm saying is, who can?
And he hit 118 in 9 years in Japan.
He was a leadoff. He was a constant leadoff hitter.
He's a leadoff hitter. You're not gonna. Your job's to get on base. Your job's not to hit home run.
Yeah. So. Oh no, I'm just saying that was
his career. I think his career on base percentage was like what 389 or something like that.
350.
Okay, so it's not quite.
Well, at least in the majors.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, there you go. Tied for number 10, Ichiro Suzuki. That moves us to
500 stolen bases too. By the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, 6.
Let's throw that in there too.
708 stolen bases between.
And how many runs did he score?
1,400 in the
1,400
baseball.
Yeah. 1,400.
Yeah. 200 hits a year, stealing bases left and right.
Let's put it this way: if all of these numbers, were all in Major League Baseball, and he didn't play at all in Japan, he'd be higher on this list.
Yeah. I just wish he would have came to the Yankees a little sooner.
How many seasons in the majors?
20.
Yeah, so averaging 40 stolen bases a year.
Yep.
Who's done that lately?
No
one. I don't know.
Nobody, right?
That would be
stolen.
nobody.
But talk about the lost art of baseball.
Yeah.
Stolen bases got to be right up there, right?
Stolen bases, small ball. It's all gone.
6 guys in the league that can legitimately steal bases.
That's what makes playing baseball fun. I mean, just standing there and striking out or hitting a home run isn't. Sure, the numbers are great.
Well, it's fun if you hit the home run.
And you're listening, and yeah, it is, of course. But listening to the, I just mean for watching. Listening to the broadcaster, get elated and everything else. But is what it is. So yeah. So number 10, tied for number 10, Ichiro Suzuki. Another tied for number 10 is Mr. Harry Heilman. Harry Edwin Heilman, nicknamed the Slug, or just Slug, I should say, actually. Played for the Tigers and the Reds. Started playing in 1914. Played for the Tigers in 1914 and then 1916 through 29. And then he played for the Reds in 1930 and 1932. He's a 4-time American League batting champion, all with the Tigers. Career batting average 342, 2,660 hits, 183 home runs, and 1,543 runs batted in. Of course, he is in Cooperstown. Harry Heilman, tied for number 10. Guys?
Harry Heilman. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember watching him, but he was good.
Well, I hope not.
Yes.
He'd be a little older than you should be. He was a play-by-play announcer for the Tigers for 17 years, too, after he finished his career. So there you go. Number 10, tied for number 10 also, Harry Heilman. All right, and also tied for number 10, the third of our triumvirate number 10s.
We have a lot of wild card entries.
None other than Mr. Dave Winfield. David Mark Winfield, to be exact. He played for the Padres for the beginning of his career, 8 years, and he best known, obviously, for his career with the Yankees for, 10 years in the 80s, or throughout the 80s, the whole decade. Then he went to the Angels for a couple of years, Blue Jays for a year. Luckily, he went to the Blue Jays for a year because he won a World Series there.
Series. He was kind of instrumental too to the chemistry of that team.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
He was on the Twins for a couple of years, rounded up his career with the Indians. He 12-time All-Star, World Series champion again with the Blue Jays in '92, 7-time Gold Glove Award winner, 6-time Silver Slugger Award winner, Roberto Clemente Award winner in '94, National League RBI leader in '79. His number 31 with the Padres is retired. He's in the Padres Hall of Fame. Of course, he's in Cooperstown. Career batting average 283, 3,110 hits.
And the RBIs are pretty impressive.
465 home runs and 1,833 RBIs. Dave Winfield, tied for 10. Guys?
Yeah, I sort of forgot to put him on my list. He should have been right where he's at, I think. Winfield was one of those guys who I think his reputation got hurt because of the bullshit treatment that he had by the Yankees in the 80s. He sort of became the whipping boy, the excuse for why they weren't performing as well as he was. But,
sure.
For that span, he was, look, a lot of people loved Don Mattingly, and rightfully so. But for the years when they played together, Dave Winfield was the best player on the Yankees and one of the best players in baseball. He was a unique player. I mean, his size, the way in which he approached the plate, he had a hell of an arm. He was a really good outfielder, which I think people forget about. Mm-hmm. And his numbers don't lie. I mean, he was kind of an old school slugger, and he put up the numbers consistently. He had some great years after leaving the Padres, coming to the Yankees. It's just he didn't deliver on getting the Yankees past, a couple of postseason entries and on to a championship. They paid a lot, they paid a lot of money for him, more than Steinbrenner thought that he was paying because of a clause in the contract. And sure. I think that chapped his hide a little bit for him, and he had something out against him.
Yep. And don't forget the when he was arrested in Toronto.
The pigeon. Yeah. I think it's ironic that he came back to a team called the Blue Jays. He went back to play for a team named after a bird and won and became really a fan favorite there. in Toronto. But yeah,
he wasn't a fan favorite the day he killed the bird. They were screaming for his head that day. But
that's the air traffic controller's problem.
Yeah.
What's the?
They were thanking him one less bird in the flight path.
What's the flight code for Toronto again? I forget. What was that again?
Yeah,
something with a Y or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
In any
obscure
event,
prog rock reference.
Enter obscure prog rock reference here.
Not that obscure. Well, I guess it is.
It's not really. That's not really that obscure. If it was a Triumph reference, it would be a little more obscure than Rush. Right. I mean, come on.
Right. How did Triumph ever write a song about the Toronto airport?
Well, no, but they wrote a song about Dave Winfield.
Dave Winfield, exactly. I think it was on the Sport of Kings.
He was Rick Emmett's favorite right fielder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a good. If you were not a Yankee fan, he was a good Yankee to hate because he was just so good.
Sure.
So
yeah,
he was kind
of a classy guy. He always kind of rose above the bullshit, and he was pretty even keeled for, a superstar. I mean, he was the one of their first huge signings. Mm-hmm. And look, I think had he had more success in the postseason, which is a lot of what people rank Yankee individual players' successes on. Had he had some of that, I think he'd be not only higher on this list, but you could make an argument that he'd be right there with another certain right fielder, maybe as the second best right fielder in the history of the Yankees.
There you go. And I don't know why, and I'll bring it up really quick, but I don't know why, but every time I talk about Dave Winfield, I just remember that Channel 11 WPIX commercial back in the 80s. When they were spelling out the call letters, and they said W for Winfield, and it was Dave Winfield doing the.
I just remember he had a mustache that looked like it was like 5 feet wide.
It was crawling across his face.
Yeah. He was sort of a star, though. He had that kind of. I mean, what was he? 6'7"?
Something like that.
I think at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was 6'8", maybe.
18 feet 9 inches tall.
He was 18 feet 9 inches tall. He was kind of a
6'6". He was 6 foot.
6'6".
Because he sort of he was a star. He stood out everywhere he went. He was a bona fide celebrity at the time in New York, and he's still. He was the most consistent part of that Yankee team for a long time.
He was. There you go. Also tied for 10, Mr. Dave Winfield. All right.
And number 10 on our list.
And that
finishes our top 10,
3 10s. Now we move on to number 9. Here we go. Number 9 on our list is Mr. Larry Walker. Larry Kenneth Robert Walker, to be exact. Played for the Expos for 5 or 6 years, played for the Rockies for 10, and finished up his career for a couple of years with the Cardinals. 5-time All-Star, National League MVP in 97, 7-time Gold Glove Award winner, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 3-time Major League Baseball batting champion, National League home run leader in 97. Of course, he is in Cooperstown. Career batting average 313, 2,160 hits, 383 home runs, and 1,311 RBIs. Mr. Larry Walker, 9 on our list. Guys?
Definitely the best mullet on our list.
Oh, there, of course.
Yeah.
Larry Walker was a hitting machine. I mean, he was one of the best hitters of an era, and he was great on the Expos. But look, you could say what you want about playing in Coors Field. I get it. His numbers were equally as good on the road as they were in Coors Field, and he became the only player in Major League history to register both a .700 slugging percentage and 30 stolen bases in the same season, and won the National League MVP. Sure. So he was a guy who was just an incredible athlete, great fielder, good on the base pass, and not only a slugger, but just a guy who was one of the best hitters in the league for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean he
won 7 Gold Gloves.
He was a big part of the Expos having the best record in 1994, but never got to do anything with it because of the strike either.
Right.
Too. So, and then the next year he was in Colorado.
Yeah.
But, didn't have that great of a postseason numbers, but
Yeah,
he was a pretty reliable guy.
Did he play in the postseason only for the Cardinals, or did he play was he on that Rockies team that made it to the postseason? Because I think he went to the Cardinals before the Rockies made it to the World Series. Yeah, that's for sure.
He was on the Cardinals when the Rockies. Actually, he was done by the time.
Colorado, 1995.
Okay, one series, I think.
Division series. He only played 4 games.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of opportunity.
He had 28 games.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not, I mean, let's see. He was 230, 350, 510, 51 bases in 28 games. It's not too bad.
There you go.
7 home runs.
Yep.
I mean, just low average. Didn't match up anything close to his regular season, but still,
most of it was with the Cardinals, and most of it was towards the end of his career.
Well, it was when they traded him to when Colorado traded him to St. Louis. That year he went to the World Series.
Well, he hit 333 with the 444 on base percentage in the 2004 NLDS. And then
that was as good. Well, I mean, 357.
Yeah, 357 in the World Series. I mean, they lost to Boston, but his
2004 was a good year.
His slugging percentage in the World Series was 929, and his OPS was 1.366.
Yeah,
13 total bases in four games. Mm-hmm. So Boston swept St. Louis and Colorado in the World Series. Huh?
Yep. Yes, they did.
He was about the only guy doing anything for Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, that was with St. Louis, but he wasn't on the Rockies when
he was done.
No,
the year after he retired. The year after that World Series. And
look, the Blake Street Bombers. Those Rockies teams were fun. I mean, Andres Galarraga and Larry Walker and what's his name? Whose kid is playing shortstop now for the Blue Jays. Dante Bichette.
Sure.
And then later on. What's his name showed up at first base. I mean, the Rockies had a really good teams that year. It's just they couldn't get past some of these other teams.
And Larry Walker, one of the all-time great moments in baseball history, turning the batting helmet around and batting right-handed in the All-Star game against Randy Johnson. You'll never see something like that again.
Well, talk about mullet on mullet.
Yeah, that was.
Mullet.
I think he lost that battle too.
There's no better mullet than Randy Johnson.
Johnson's mullet.
Not the at bat. You're just talking the mullet battle.
The mullet battle.
Exactly. So, anyway, number 9, Larry Walker. We move on to number 8, and number 8 is Mr. Tony Gwynn, Anthony Keith Gwynn Sr. to be exact, nicknamed Mr. Padre. Played for the Padres from 1982 till 2001. 8-time National League batting champion, 15-time All-Star.
8-time batting champion.
8-time batting champion, yeah.
Who's going to do that nowadays?
8-time batting How about one time, man?
For one team.
Yeah. 8-time batting champion, 15-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, 7-time Silver Slugger Award, Roberto Clemente Award winner, 99. His number 19, of course, is retired with the Padres. He's in the Padres Hall of Fame. Of course, he's in Cooperstown. Career batting average 338, 3,141 hits, 135 home runs, and 1,138 RBIs. Mr. Tony Gwynn, number 8 on our list, guys.
Pretty good numbers.
Yeah, I think had he not played in San Diego, I think he would, his accomplishments would be better recognized. Tony Gwynn and Kirby Puckett remind me of these two guys who, were not necessarily built for baseball, yet they were consummate hitters, consummate fielders, and two of the best to ever play the game. And Tony Gwynn was phenomenal. And year in and year out, he was one of the best players in baseball, and 8-time batting champion. Eight times.
8-time batting champion.
Yeah, he was and a great guy, and he's has been and will always, I think, be the face of the Padres.
Yep. Oh, definitely. That's definite.
And he had that great voice.
Yeah, he did have a unique speaking voice.
Very unique. Yes, there you go. Number 8, Mr. Tony Gwynn. We move on to number 7, Mr. 7. Mr. 7. Number 7 is Mr. 7. There you go.
Mr. 7.
Mr. 7. Number 7, Mr. Al Colleen. Albert William Colleen. Mr. Tiger was his nickname. I'll give you a hint what team he played for.
It wasn't K-Line, it was Colleen.
K-Line, Colleen. Sure, why not?
Colleen.
It wasn't All. It was Al.
I think it was all K-Line.
K-Linny.
I think it's Al. I think it's Al K-Line.
Al Colleen.
I always said Colleen.
Yeah. And he invented the alkaline battery.
He did.
Alkaline. There
His
you
name
go.
was
Alkaline. Right there you go.
That's right.
And ironically, if you put his name together, it spells alkaline. So
that's
why you said it.
Yeah,
it sounds like. I mean,
his middle name is oddly. His middle name is Duracell.
It might be true.
Albert Duracell K-Line. Or Alkaline.
Alkaline.
There you go. Played for the Tigers for 22 years, 53 to 74. 18-time All-Star, World Series champ in 68. 10-time Gold Glove Award winner. Roberto Clemente Award winner in 73. American League batting champion in 55. His number 6 is retired with the Detroit Tigers. He's, of course, in Cooperstown, and his career batting average is .297, 3,007 hits, 399 home runs, and 1,583 RBIs. Mr. Alkaline.
Alkaline. I mean, he's the quintessential Hall of Famer.
Mr. Tiger, and now his nickname on this show, Mr. 7.
Mr.
7, also known to his closest friends as Al the Battery and Mr. 7.
And Mr. 7, there you go.
Mr. 7.
Al K-Line.
Yeah, kind of a guy who's overlooked, I guess.
A little bit.
It's not like he played that long ago, and
he was playing in the mid-'70s. He retired,
Yeah, certainly people of our age or maybe a little bit younger who kind of know the name but don't really know just how good he was.
Sure,
yeah, definitely overlooked.
But long career. I mean, he started in the early 50s and was almost the mid-'70s when he retired. So
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Number 7, Al K-Line.
Systems outfielder.
Systems
outfielder was definitely. He lasted so long because of load management and analytics.
Plus he had a battery in him.
He retired when they were done with, when he was done with, he couldn't get another battery.
Last few years, he was running on D cells.
He was.
Right. He was. Fifth game.
They had to hook up one of those the heavy duty, the lantern batteries.
This is the official notice that the battery jokes are running out of power.
Mr. 7, Mr. Al K-Line. There you go. All right. Number 6 is Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. There he is right there. Mr. October and whatever else you want to call him. Had a candy bar named after him.
They were really good. I love the Reggie bar.
They were really good. I really like the Reggie bar, as did somebody else on this list too. But he played for the Kansas City and Oakland Athletics. He played for the Baltimore Orioles for a year, and then he came to New York and was on the Yankees for 5 seasons. Finished with the Angels for 5 seasons as well, and then back to the Athletics to wind up his career. 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, American League MVP in 73, 2-time World Series MVP, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 4-time American League home run leader, American League RBI leader in 73. Oakland Athletics number 9 is retired. New York Yankees number 44 is retired. He's in the Athletics Hall of Fame. He's in Monument Park in Yankee Stadium. Of course, he's in Cooperstown, and his numbers are as follows. Career batting average, 262. Lower than you'd think. Long career, though. 2,584 hits, 563 home runs, and 1,702 RBIs. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Take it away, Harry.
Well, look, numbers don't mean a damn thing when it comes to Reggie Jackson.
Oh, no. He was clutch, and it was postseason numbers.
And look, he was one of these guys who sort of changed. He was 2 different players in a lot of ways. When he came up at the A's, he was much faster. He was a base stealer. He was a hell of an outfielder. Not that he wasn't a good outfielder with the Yankees. His fielding was always suspect. He had a hell of an arm. He had one of the biggest rockets you'll ever see coming from right field, especially in Yankee Stadium. he was just clutch. He was some of the biggest sporting moments I'll ever remember revolve around Reggie Jackson. And, between him and Thurman Munson, I think the Yankees had two of the most interesting players playing at the same time. Sure. At a time when they were, kind of being resurrected in some ways. And I think Jackson was a big part of that. And I think what goes overlooked is his accomplishments with the A's, before that. And then the other thing that goes overlooked is he was really close. And I know you guys will disagree with me on this, but he was, look, the Angels blew it in 86. They were a better team than Boston. And I think they would have given the Mets a run for the money and maybe beat them. I think that 86 Angels team could have been his 6th World Series.
It's possible. But on the other hand, I just wish he didn't play as well as he played in 1973.
Well, right.
Because I would hope that he would have lost that World Series too, but that's another story.
He was he's called Mr. October for a reason. He just always came up big in the big moments.
Here's his postseason number: 77 games, 278 average, 48 RBIs, 18 home runs. Not bad.
Not bad for a day's work.
Not bad.
No.
148 total bases.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at his numbers and go, yeah, okay, they're certainly 563 home runs.
He played a long time, and
he played a long time, but it was the impact he made, I think.
And his on base percentage was higher. He drew a lot of walks. He struck out a lot,
more than anybody.
Yeah,
ever.
But he also drew a lot of walks, but when it's his numbers are. If you're just looking at stats,
it's not about the numbers with him. Yeah, is anybody going to catch him for strikeouts though? With the way the game is today,
I don't think anybody will play long enough.
It's possible, actually. If somebody plays long enough, they can today. The way it is today.
I mean, it's 20. It's just shy of 2,600.
Yep.
So, by the way, I just got a check this out.
I saw that come in.
That is a grapefruit green tea slushy.
A grapefruit green tea slushy. Look at that.
I never had one. I'm going to take a sip right now.
Tell us how it is.
Might want to pull the little tab out of the back there so that you get more air in there.
That's good.
Grapefruit green tea slushy.
Yeah,
where did you get that, sir?
At the grapefruit green tea slushy store.
Of course.
Yeah, we got a little poke bowl for dinner.
My
son's jazz band concert was tonight, so he wanted to have poke bowl.
There you go.
So, and I said they have bubble tea, but I'm not a fan of the
not so
tapiocas. So I said, get me a slushie. And they were nice enough to bring it to me now instead of me going down to drink it 2 hours from now when it's just a mess.
When it's just a mess. Yeah, I don't want
Pretty good, though. Maui Poke Bowl in Comac, New York.
There you go. If you're in Comac, go to Maui Poke Bowl.
Shout out for the mango green tea slushy.
Is that the oh no, you weren't a Poke Bowl, you were ramen that night when you picked up the and you did the beginning of the show from the car.
Yeah, that was a little farther away. Okay. This is really good though. I've never eaten their food, but I can now recommend the grapefruit green tea slushy.
There you go. All right. Well, anyway, on that note, for Mr. Reggie Jackson, number 6 on our list tonight. There you go. All right, that brings us to number 5. Number 5 is Mr. Mel Ott. Mr. Mel Ott played for the New York Giants from 26 to 47, and then managed the New York Giants for the last 6 years of his career, and a year afterwards as well. 12-time All-Star, World Series champion 33. 6-time National League home run leader, National League RBI leader in 34. His number 4 is retired with the Giants. Of course, he's in Cooperstown. Career batting average 304, 2,876 hits, 511 home runs, and 1,860 RBIs.
And can I add to that 1,700 walks?
Yeah, 1,700 walks.
2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 seasons with more than 100 walks.
Yeah, it's insane.
So either the pitching was really bad for at least a number of those 10
or
seasons.
He knew how to grind out a walk.
Or they didn't want to throw to him.
And he has the most efficient name in the history of baseball.
I believe he does hold the record for the shortest name.
Melvin Thomas Ott. So no shortening the last name, Mel Ott. There you go. Master Melvin was his nickname, by the way.
Yeah.
There you go. Number 5 on our list, Mr. Mel Ott. Brings us to number 4, whose jersey I am wearing tonight, Mr. Roberto Clemente. There you go. And that is your answer to your question before, Radio Pete.
There we go. Well, that's that is an excellent choice on your part, sir.
I figured I'd pay homage. There you go. Roberto Enrique Clemente Walker. He played his entire career for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1955 through 1972. 15-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ in 1960 and in 1971. National League MVP in 66, World Series MVP in 71, 12-time Gold Glove Award winner, 4-time National League batting champion, 61, 4, 5, and 7. His number 21, of course, is retired by the Pirates. He's in Cooperstown, and here are his career numbers. Career batting average, 317. Hits, exactly 3,000. Home runs, exactly 240. And RBIs, 1,305. And there you go, Roberto Clemente, number 4 on our list tonight, guys.
One of the best ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the top 4 on this list could be easily in the top 10 of, baseball players of all time.
Yep. And amazing. And if you've been paying attention, any of these stats we read, a lot of these, players that are making our top 10 obviously are in Cooperstown or going to Cooperstown or already in Cooperstown. And they all have a lot of things in common with their stats and their accolades and everything else. But a lot of them do have one thing in common, and they have the Roberto Clemente Award.
Yeah.
So
interestingly enough, Roberto Clemente never won that award.
He did not. No.
Actually, I think in the privacy of his own home, he probably won it every year.
Yeah, every night he
just gave it to himself.
Yeah.
Major League, in when he retired, Major League Baseball renamed the annual Commissioner's Award in his honor. So it's the Roberto Clemente Award. So it's given to the player who best exemplifies the game of baseball, sportsmanship, community involvement, and the individual's contribution to his team. So those are the stipulations there. So there you go. Number 4 on our list. The man.
We almost had the same 4 guys, not quite in the exact same order, but
pretty close to the same order too.
I'm surprised this list is as kind of matched up as it is.
We were pretty much in there. Yeah,
I can't believe I left Tony Gwynn off the list, though. That was a bit of an oversight. A bit of an oversight on my. Well, but I only had 10. But he wouldn't have been my 11th. I want to move some guys down. Now I was in a bit of a rush.
Sorry. No worries. He's still on the list. He's still on the list.
He's on the list.
It proves our point that he's maybe one of the most underrated, overlooked players in the history of the game.
If it wasn't for Minetti, I probably would have been.
That's right.
I probably would have been 5th.
Yeah.
So there you go. Number 4 on our list once again.
My bad.
Roberto Clemente. All right. That brings us to number 3. Number 3 on our list is Mr. Frank Robinson. Frank Robinson. No middle name, no nickname. Frank Robinson. There you go.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Frank Robinson. There you go.
Mr. Frank, Mr. Robinson.
He's played his.
Also known as Mr. 3.
Here's to you, Mr. 3, yes. Here's to you, Mr. Robinson. He played for the Reds. He played for the Orioles. He played for the Dodgers. He played for the Angels, and he played for the Indians. Obviously, a lot of years with the Reds before he went to the Orioles, and then he bounced around the last couple of years of his career. But he was a manager afterwards, though. Manager for the Indians a couple of years while he played, and then a year afterwards. Managed the Giants for a few years in the early 80s. Managed the Orioles again for a few years. Late 80s, early 90s, and then managed the Expos / Nationals. He was the Expos last and Nationals first manager from 02 to 06. And, of course, he was a coach in amongst all those years as well. Here's his numbers. 14-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ in 66 and 70. He did not win in 69 because of another team. National League MVP in 61, American League MVP in 66. World Series MVP also in 66. Triple Crown in 66. 66 was a good year for him. National League Rookie of the Year in 56. Gold Glove Award winner. American League Manager of the Year award in '89. His number 20 with the Reds is retired. His number 20 with the Orioles is retired. His number 20 with the Indians is retired. He's in the Reds, Orioles, and Indians Hall of Fame. He's in the Washington Nationals Ring of Honor. He's in Cooperstown. And his career stats are .294 batting average, 2,943 hits, 586 home runs, and 1,812 RBIs. Mr. 3.
Mr. 3.
Mr. 3, Frank Robinson. There you go. Guys?
Yeah, not as well known as he should have been, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe because he didn't have very good postseason numbers. Yeah. And that's often what people remember.
Sure.
But, what was he, a 2 or 3 time Triple Crown winner? Is that wrong
Triple
about
Crown
that?
one time, 60.
One time, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. But led in basically all the other categories, or most of them a couple times. Just a great player, 21 years in the league. But
he was on the Reds so early on. They were the Red Legs when he was on them first. So.
There you go.
But,
yeah. Several seasons with his ops over 1.
That's
4 or 5 of them. That tells you something right there.
I think he's the best Oriole of all time. I know that will rub some people the wrong way, especially because I think one of those people is highly overrated on it. Listen, there's another Robinson on the Orioles that deserve. I would put them both as the best Oriole of all time. Frank Robinson was a great player.
Yeah.
And
Frank and Brooks were both very good. So.
Yeah, to be number 3 on this list, especially with who's coming up at number 1 and 2, it's impressive, and he is a little overlooked. He did.
Did we lose Pat?
He's frozen.
Harry.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we didn't hear any of that.
That's okay. Let's move on. Number 2.
I think it's the most brilliant thing you've ever said.
I think it was very good, actually. No, but you're absolutely right, though. He was one of the best Orioles ever. You could put him in wherever. We'll go around another.
I have him at number 1. When we get to if this podcast gets that boring that we have the top 10 Orioles of all time, then
he's your number 1. I got you. All right, number 3 on our list, Mr. 3, Frank Robinson.
How about top 10 Orioles right fielders?
How about top 10 Robinsons?
Top 10 Robinsons on the Orioles that played the outfield.
Just top 10 Robinsons.
We might have 12 of those.
Well, Mrs. has to be in there, right?
Top 10 Robinsons would be very interesting.
Right.
That would be very interesting.
We could do that. We could do something like that. Why not?
Who's going to win it? Is it going to be David Robinson or Robinson Crusoe?
I don't know. It could be a lot. It could be. I don't know. We'll figure it out, though. But
all right.
Let's move on to number 2.
Number
2 is Mr. Hammer and Hank Aaron. Henry Louis Aaron. Hammer or Hammer and Hank were both his nicknames. He was on he started on the Indianapolis Clowns for a season, and then he moved on to the major.
Doing mostly kids' parties and bar mitzvahs.
Exactly, right. He was on the Milwaukee.
Why would you name a team that?
I don't know. He was on the Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves from 54 to 74. And he finished up his career for a couple of years back in Milwaukee on the Brewers. Ready for this? 25-time All-Star.
Yeah.
25-time All-Star. World Series champ in 57. National League MVP in 57. 3-time Gold Glove Award winner. 2-time National League batting champion. 4-time National League home run leader. 4-time National League RBI leader. His number 44 is retired by the Braves. His number 44 is also retired by the Brewers. He's in the Braves Hall of Fame. He's in the American Family Field Walk of Fame. He's in the Brewers Wall of Honor. Major League Baseball All-Century team he made. Here's his Major League Baseball records. Here we go. 2,297 career RBIs. 6,856 career total bases. 1,477 career extra base hits. There's another number on there that was broken several years back. We know what that was. And
no, I don't believe that was broken.
You don't believe it was broken?
Not legitimately.
Well, it was legitimately or illegitimately broken. It was broken by somebody in San Francisco. But in any event, he's in Cooperstown, and the rest of his numbers are as follows. Career batting average 305, 3,771 hits, 755 home runs. That's the record, obviously, we're talking about.
Yeah.
And RBIs, we mentioned it before, 2,297. Mr. Hammer and Hank Aaron.
2,000 RBIs. That's ridiculous.
2,297 RBIs. Man.
One of the best moments in sports history was when he broke, the home run record. I mean, and again, we have a lot of candy bars on this list tonight.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you got three. We
got three. We've had two, and I think we're coming up on one in a minute or so.
I would argue maybe number 2 on the list, maybe number 3 on the candy bar, but
number 2 on the list, number 3 on the candy bar. Yeah, I have to.
But by the way, a much smaller sample size for postseason numbers for Hammer and Hank.
Mm-hmm.
17 games over the course of 3 series, 362 with 6 home runs, 16 RBIs. 11 runs scored, and an ops of 11-16.
He won one World
49
Series, right?
total bases.
49 total bases.
Those are good postseason numbers, folks.
He won one, right?
No. Yeah, he won. In 57, he won.
Pretty early on,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes,
and who was that? Who was that one against? Do you remember?
I
think they played in New York.
Who could they be playing in 1957?
Probably one of the teams that's always in the World Series.
Yeah, I believe the most successful professional sports team.
That would be them. That would be them.
But not that year.
They weren't successful there. The rest of that decade, pretty much, but not that year.
Yeah, that was the one year that guy's shoelace broke and he missed that ground ball. No, that was it. The game was it.
There you go. But number 2 on our list, Hammer and Hank Aaron. There you go. And it brings us to number 1. Number 1 is, of course, none other than George Herman the Babe Ruth. The Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT. Great nicknames for this guy. And another candy bar as well. He was on the Red Sox from 1914 to 1919. He was on the Yankees from 1920 to 1934. And then he finished up his career back in Boston on the Braves in 1935. 2-time All-Star. Only a 2-time All-Star. Why? Because they only started the All-Star game late in his career.
Actually, he was named to 2 All-Star teams in the 70s long after he was dead.
7-time World Series champion. 7-time World Series champion. 1915, 1916, 1918, all with the Red Sox, and then 23, 27, 28, and 32 with the Yankees. American League MVP in 23. AL batting champion 24. 12-time American League home run leader. 6-time American League RBI leader. American League ERA leader in 1916. Yes, he pitched 2, folks. His number 3 is retired by the Yankees. Of course, he's in Monument Park. He's in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. He's on the all-century team, all-time team. And just I could go on and on with other career achievements and records, but I'll just mention his career stats. Of course, he's in Cooperstown, by the way, as if you didn't think that. Career batting average, 342. Career hits, 2,873. Career home runs, 714, was broken by the previous gentleman. Runs batted in, 2,213. And, there you go. And his win-loss record as a starting pitcher was 94-46. Career ERA
with a 2.28 ERA.
With a 2.28
and how many complete games?
Hold on.
107.
107 complete games. There you go.
100
out of 140.
107 complete games.
Out of 140 games he pitched.
Out of 140 games that he pitched.
Yeah.
By the way, I think he played 21 seasons, maybe 22, and he was in 10 World Series.
Yeah. And he had 17 shutouts and 4 saves.
107 complete games.
So of the other 33 games that not including the other 33 games, other than the 140 games he pitched, he came in and saved 3 games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's the greatest.
Yeah. There's a reason why there's a legend about this guy.
A little bit.
I mean, it was really his advanced training techniques and his strict vegan diet.
His vegan diet, and he never touched a drop of alcohol or ate any fatty foods at all.
Yeah. The animals that they made into those little sausages that he ate, they were vegetarian.
That's right.
And so by extension, so is he.
Right. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you Just go to what you guys use baseballreference.com. It's accessible.
Of course. Yeah.
I encourage anybody out there who's listening, just go there and just look up Babe Ruth's stats and all the bold numbers.
Oh yeah,
which
everything's
are
bold.
either
Yeah.
league leading or
Major League Baseball leading.
Or baseball leading. It's just his stat sheet is just peppered with
It's ridiculous.
bolded numbers, and it's just ridiculous.
You can't make this up. It's just insane to think about, and everything you could just keep reading stats on and on and on, and they don't stop.
No.
So many.
And I mean, look, he played a long time ago when the game was a little bit different, but he wasn't playing in the 1800s.
No.
He was. I don't know what do we consider the modern era? Is it the 50s on or the 40s on?
I would say
40s maybe. Post-war,
late 40s, post-war, yeah, after World War II.
So he was a little bit before that,
on.
but the game was still the game. It wasn't the same.
Well, think about it.
Think about his baseball.
Well, think about his home run record. I mean, he was hitting home runs in enormous stadiums. It was not a home run, derby going on. I mean, if he played, if you transported Babe Ruth at that time to modern day ballparks,
right?
What would the home run number be?
Yeah,
I mean, no, he
he really was without any contemporaries.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just doing things that literally no one else was doing, had done, and maybe will ever do again, at least not to the maybe the same volume.
And maybe the biggest celebrity star in sports history. I mean, if you think about just how much of an attraction he was during that time. Yep. You could talk about Michael Jordan, you could talk about Wayne Gretzky, you could talk about somebody. Nobody comes close to what people used to travel on the train to go. Just to get maybe the chance to see him play.
Yeah,
it was. He was larger than life, literally and figuratively, and his numbers are even more impressive than what you think they would be.
They are, and amazing, and number one on our list tonight. That's for sure, Mr. George Herman Babe Ruth. I love that. Sultan of SWAT. And, of course, the Bambino. Babe Ruth, number one. All right. That wraps up our top 10 for tonight. That'll bring us to this week's Old Balls.
Old Balls.
Harry, why don't you tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is?
This week's recipient of the Old Balls award is none other than Dave Parker, the Cobra. Yeah, and I know, another Pittsburgh Pirate for my Old Balls. But you know what? He was really good, and he almost made my list, so that's why I wanted him on here. He was a 7-time All-Star. He was a 2-time World Series champion, played for the Pirates and the Oakland Athletics. That's who he won World Series with. He played for the Reds, the Brewers, the Angels, and the Blue Jays. Actually played till 1991, which is pretty incredible. Had a career batting average of 290, 22,712 hits, 339 home runs, and just under 1,500 RBIs. He was the first professional athlete to earn an average of $1 million a year, having signed a 5-year, $5 million contract in 1979. Early on in his career, he was also, three consecutive Gold Gloves, and from 1975 to 1979, he threw out 72 runners, including 26 in 1977. He was probably the best player on the team, on that Pirates team. And then a number of years later, wound up winning the World Series again with the Oakland A's, and he's in the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. I don't believe he's actually in the Hall of Fame.
He's not in Cooperstown, no.
He's one of those guys who I think he deserves to be. I think he kind of gets overlooked a little bit. 7-time All-Star. He was a National League MVP in 1978, 3-time Silver Slugger Award. And he won he was a 2-time National League batting champion, which you don't think of him as, hitting, but he was not only a power hitter, he was just a great hitter. And I think, one of my favorite players to watch as a kid. He was really good.
He was.
And that's why he is this week's recipient of the coveted, the just exceptionally overrated Old Balls Award.
The Old Balls.
Old Ball. Yeah, he's a good one. Look, career numbers, 290, 2,700 hits.
Yeah.
1,400 RBIs. I mean, these are to me, these are Hall of Fame worthy numbers.
Oh, they're definitely Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, two-time batting champion. I mean, granted, there were people back then. He's no Tony Gwynn, where he didn't win 14 batting titles, but that's still he was larger than life for a few years there, and he went down. He had some injuries that set him back a little bit, but he was a hell of a player, and big
more
than
500 doubles and 75 triples. Yeah,
he was a slugger, and he was a good all-around player, and he was a big dude, but he could move. He was early on before some injuries, he was a hell of an outfielder.
Yep.
Yeah,
and maybe one of the strongest arms in the history of the. I mean, in 1 year, what was it? 26. He threw out 26 runners in 1 year.
Threw out 26 runners.
That's pretty crazy.
He threw out 26 runners in 77.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Of course, nowadays there's not 27 runners that anybody gets a chance to throw out.
No,
maybe in extra innings, with the man on second.
Maybe over the course of somebody's career now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had man on second in the extra inning games that he played in.
Unbelievable. There you go.
Dave Parker.
Dave Parker, this week's Old Balls.
I mean, this list has Babe Ruth on it, but is this overall the strongest list we've had by position?
Center field and right field are pretty strong.
Yeah, that's
pretty stacked, right?
Yeah.
So was catchers, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
First base was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, you go through them.
Stan Musial.
Top 10.
You got Musial shortstop was pretty amazing. Third base was pretty fun.
Absolutely. And folks, if you missed any of these, we urge you to go back and listen to the other podcasts that we did these lists on. However, if you want to just see the list, you can go check out our Instagram page. Get On With It podcast on Instagram. All of the we post up every week, and a couple of archive ones as well. Every week we post up our top 10 list, so you can check them out there as well.
Nice plug.
Little plug action for you.
Well done, sir. Well done.
I try. All right. Well, so we let's
thanks, folks.
Let's tiptoe through NFL really quick. There's a couple of things to talk. No, I got a couple of things for you, and then we'll talk some basketball.
Harry and Pete's spirits break for a moment.
There you go.
The Giants sign a cornerback.
None of that shit.
No. Defensive end is back with the.
No. I got a couple questions for you. No, seriously.
Sheldon Richardson's back with the Vikings.
I got some questions for you.
Lay it on us.
For you. All right.
Lay it on us.
Well, first of all, I want your opinions. Have you seen Madden? This year's Madden comes out tomorrow from EA Sports, and they've been teasing who's going to be on the cover.
Well, it's got to be Danny Dimes.
I don't know. I thought it was going to be us. I thought it was going to be three of us on the cover.
Yeah, well.
But in any event, they've been teasing it. They've been putting two goats. They open up a door and two goats walk out. Okay, so we got to take our guesses now. We got to take our guesses for this because it's going to be released tomorrow. Who are these goats? And are there going to be? I'm assuming there's going to be two, and this is the second time ever that Madden has actually done
two people on the cover.
Two people on the cover. The first one was Madden 10. Was Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald. So who do we think these two goats are going to be?
Well, it's got to be. Does it have to be an active player or no?
It doesn't.
Yeah, it is. Right?
Always an active player. Yeah.
Well, you have the Madden curse if you have somebody retired.
Yeah, I mean it's you're not going to see. It's going to be Brady,
of course.
And I don't know. I don't think there's any other active goats in the NFL right now.
I could think of one that if they're going to
Aaron Rodgers,
they're going to put Aaron Rodgers on. Yeah, I could think that. That's what I say. I think it's going to be Brady and Rodgers.
But he's going to be the first player to not play in the year that he's on the mat. And
are they going to do the? Will they do the Brady Mahomes, the old goat, new goat thing?
Well, that's another theory too. They could do the old goat, new goat, Brady Mahomes. The other thing that I heard was they're going to put two bucks.
New goat. He's got one.
They're going to right. They're going to put $2 for on it and put Brady.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And put Giannis on it.
And his brother.
His brother.
Did you guys know there were two on
Yes, I knew his brother was on it. Yeah.
I think they have two Antetokounmpas and two Lopez's, right?
They do, yeah. Brooks Lopez and Frank Lopez.
And Jennifer Lopez.
Brooks and Frank Robinson Lopez. You know,
right.
They go along. But Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, there you go.
She might do a better job covering kick Durant.
There you go.
Yeah.
But in any event, a couple people said they're going to put Brady and Gronk on the cover.
I don't know.
I'm not really going to call Gronk a GOAT, but
he's pretty close, though.
You know, I mean, he is up. He was number 4 on our tight ends list.
Well, there you go.
But that doesn't it means he's the fourth greatest of all time.
That doesn't mean he belongs there.
It's true. Yeah. Well, we don't think he's the GOAT, but maybe EA Sports does. But in any event, if I
had to vote, I'd say old GOAT, new GOAT.
I'm going with Brady and Rodgers. I think
it's going to be Patrick Mahomes and what's his name from
Danny Dimes.
What's his name from the Seahawks doing GOAT yoga?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
There you go. It's possible.
Well, let's see who.
I'm going with Brady and Rodgers. I think that EA Sports is buying into this whole Rodgers thing and what's going on this year and everything else. I think it's a perfect time for them to.
It's going to be Danny Dimes and Chad Pennington.
Danny Dimes and Chad Pennington.
Maybe it's the GOAT of New York quarterbacks.
There you go. The GOAT of New York quarterbacks. So who would it be? Who would be the GOAT of New York quarterbacks?
Charlie Ward is no longer playing.
Charlie Ward is not a player anymore. So. There you go. Hey, it could be, you never know. It could be, Jacksonville's new quarterback and the Jets' new quarterback, too. It could be, the brand new GOATs.
Yeah, that would be the Togs.
Togs. Togs. There you go.
I'll be waiting with bated breath until they announce it.
The Togs.
Togs. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, all right. So we've got our picks. Couple things really quick just to run by you. I thought this was interesting. Jack Brown of The Score predicts that Adrian Peterson will land on the Giants.
Yeah, I saw that. Why?
I don't know. I really don't. It's the first time I saw it.
For when Saquon Barkley gets hurt, of course.
Maybe to teach Saquon Barkley how to, come
back
with
a switch.
I don't know about that, but how to come back from an ACL injury.
Blow out your knee entirely, even worse than
Barkley did. I'm not opposed to it. But it's like, Kyle Rudolph and Adrian Peterson line up. I mean, are we going to wheel out Harry Carson to play linebacker? And,
why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
But and on that note too, there's some pundits going around saying with the additions of Kenny Golladay and the signing of Kadarius Toney, what's the likelihood of Darius Slayton having like a breakout year? Because
because they're gonna
be covering Golladay and Toney.
Look, I've said this before, and you think I'm joking. The Giants might have depth-wise the most receiving talent, at least the potential for it.
And they haven't mentioned Sterling Shepard on there too either.
Right. Exactly. And they finally have a tight end who can catch the ball. That's an actual tight end.
Right.
Can they block and can he throw? That's really going to be the question.
That's really the only question. Yeah.
Yeah. And if he can't get it done, if the offensive line shows up and is 75% of what their potential is, and our favorite quarterback can't get it done this year, then it ain't going to get done.
Well, that's why they have the draft capital for next year, right?
That's what they already have the Giants drafting a quarterback. Yeah. I think there's been 4.
You already do.
No, they had it.
I know they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe there's already 2022 mock drafts.
Of course.
Who
the 2022 mock drafts came out 3 minutes after round 1 ended this year.
They were still doing mock drafts for 2021 after the draft was over. Come on.
I don't care what they picked. These are the ones they should have.
Here's how it should have gone.
Here's how it should have gone.
If we're still doing this next year, remind me to have a vacation on the draft episode.
Exactly. Anyway, moving on to the Jets. One thing did you see Jamison Crowder agreed to take a big pay cut to avoid a potential release?
Jay Crowder, the backup center?
Jamison Crowder.
Well, good for him.
Last season he had 59 receptions, 699 yards, and 6 receiving TDs. He obviously wants to stay on the Jets, so he took a big pay cut. So,
has anybody checked his head?
I don't know. Maybe he's buying into.
He's got to like
Robert Saleh.
He's got to like what he's seeing with the coaching staff.
He's buying into.
I'm intrigued to see.
I'm happy to have him. I'm sorry he had to take
I think
it's only his third season. He's a young receiver. He's
the best receiver on the Jets by far.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So. Was he a Pro Bowler last year? I think he was, wasn't he?
Did he?
I don't know.
Somebody had to go from the Jets, right?
Somebody. Well, not
necessarily.
Not necessarily. No. John Riggins was sent from.
Well, I mean, I know it's not a rule.
Well, it was what's his name, the running back,
Sean Green.
No, the 95-year-old running back.
Oh, Frank Gore, of course.
Frank Gore, all-star Frank Gore.
Yeah, Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson, both in New York.
Frank Gore had 390 carries and 911 yards last season.
Right.
Just great.
And Sean Green was like 10 years ago, and Frank Gore is still older than Sean Green.
Yeah, still playing.
He's still playing.
Yeah, Sean Green is sitting on his porch playing with his grandkids, and Frank Gore's setting up for another game on Sunday.
Frank Gore's playing football with his son for money.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. And one other thing on NFL news too. Fox report came out. Fox actually recently interviewed Alex Smith and Jay Gruden for analyst jobs. And that came after Alex Smith actually interviewed with ESPN, NFL Network, and CBS. So apparently, old regime of Washington's gonna be commentating this year and doing some analysis work. So there you go. All right.
That'd be pretty good. Just actually one other thing.
Yeah.
Unless you have something else for football.
No, you do it. I got one thing on football.
Okay. You do your football thing, and then I got a quick football thing.
It's the quiz. We started the quiz last week. We did it on. I did it for you guys on baseball. I got one for you this week on football. Next week, basketball.
Well, then I just want to follow up on the Sheldon Richardson story.
Okay.
As we the Minnesota Vikings bid farewell to punter Zach von Rosenberg.
Okay.
Who they let go to make room for Richardson, who's returning to the Vikings after somewhat unspectacular 2018 season. So.
Yes. So, there you go.
To me, that was the most interesting story. It
is. Sheldon Richardson getting another shot in Minnesota, and
I mean, wasn't he he was a top 10 pick, I think. Right?
He was. Yeah, he was. He was
like number 3 overall or something like that.
He was a high pick,
and didn't do so well there. So he was
my number 16 as top 10 right fielders the whole time.
Yeah.
So he made it up that high on your list. I had him at 21.
Yeah.
So they brought him back. See, to me, that's like an old school coach moment. Listen, Sheldon Richardson's coming back, but we got to make room for him. Get rid of a punter.
We don't need. Yeah.
We got too many punters on this.
I don't know. Can Richardson punt? Can Richardson punt?
There's only 2 teams in the NFL that cannot afford to not have backup punter. That's the New York Giants and the New York Jets. That's the most important. It's their best offensive weapon.
And you never know. I mean, if the Giants don't take a quarterback, they might take a punter with one of those punter. 2 first-round picks next year.
They need who was the I think it was the Miami Dolphin for a while. Jeff Jensen.
Yeah,
who was like a quarterback and a punter, and he could place kick and
back in the day, most of your punters were backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Sometimes insurance salesmen.
That's too much.
Well, in the off season. So
the specialty demands of punting has ended that practice.
Yeah, really. All right, here's this week's quiz. Ready?
Yeah.
2 running backs stay. 2 running backs stay. 3 running backs got to go. I'm giving you 5. Who are you keeping? I'll go with who wants to go first?
Pete.
I'll go first.
Pete goes first. Here we go. 2 running. You got to keep 2. Get rid of 3. You got to keep 2.
I'm getting 5 different ones.
You're getting Giants. Pete's getting Jets. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
There you go. All right, Pete. Here we go. Curtis Martin. You writing down, or are you just gonna remember?
No,
I thought he was looking for a pen.
He's looking for his mango green.
My drink is sweating on my desk, so I'm putting a towel.
There you go.
I knew it had to do with his mango smoothie. He wouldn't have been that interested.
Look at that. It's delicious.
Very nice. There you go. All right, here we go. Curtis Martin, Freeman McNeil, Emerson Boozer, LaDainian Tomlinson, or John Riggins.
I got to keep 2.
And it has to be their time with the team.
Oh, yeah. It was, and their time with the team, when they played with the team, they're in the best shape of their careers, blah, 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 all of that. So, who you keep?
Wow. LaDainian Tomlinson wasn't at his best with the Jets.
Martin and Freeman.
Yeah.
You're keeping Curtis Martin and Freeman?
Curtis and Freeman.
I agree.
Curtis and Freeman. You got
Although I do have, I don't know.
I mean, if I could take LaDainian Tomlinson as a Charger, then yeah.
Yeah. I have to apologize to my neighbor, Emerson Boozer.
Yeah.
Who was one of my, he was one of my favorite players just because of his name when I was,
sure.
7 or whatever. I was like, Boozer, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Boozer, hey.
Yeah. Well, no, not that way. It's just a cool sounding word.
His wife,
as a 7-year-old, I didn't know what that meant. But,
he's married to Elaine Boozler,
right? Sure.
Why not? Sure.
But all right, and John Riggins.
No, I'll throw that in there too. I had to throw an old school one in there. I'll throw that in there too. LaDainian Tomlinson in his heyday in San Diego. You have him there. He's not just when he played on the Jets.
Boy.
Then what do you do?
Curtis Martin and LaDainian
Martin and Tomlinson then. There sorry, Freeman.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. Let's move it over to Harry. Harry, here's your 5. Ready?
Okay.
2 got to stay. 3 got to go. Here we go. Saquon, Brandon Jacobs, Joe Morris, Tiki Barber, and Frank Gifford.
Frank Gifford's a tough one. Jacobs, Morris, Tiki. Say that one more time. Jacobs, Morris, Tiki, Saquon,
and Frank Gifford.
Yeah, or the GIF.
And the GIF.
Yeah. I mean, look, numbers-wise, I just can't stand him, so fuck you, Tiki. I'm going to take Joe Morris and the GIF.
Joe Morris and Frank Gifford. There you go. Pete,
I think I would agree with that. Tiki's got really good Anderson. Numbers, right? But
yeah,
Tiki still holds records. So
yeah, he was great. His numbers are great. But he just punked out, and I can't have that on my team. So
yeah, I think I'd go with my friend Jimmy used to call Little Train Joe Morris.
Little Train Joe Morris. There you
go.
Little
Train Joe.
Joe Morris was amazing.
He was.
Yeah. Did he have like a 90-yard run with one shoe?
He did. And
were we at that game?
I think we were. Yeah, we were actually. Yeah, we were. We were. Like, and you said it too. Is he running with a sock on?
He was so fast, he ran out of his shoe.
He was, and he was so small, he ran under defenders too.
That's right.
He didn't jump over them. He went.
The Giants have had a number of.
He didn't have to duck either. He just ran underneath them.
Lowerly heighted running backs over the years.
Yeah, they were.
But Morris
vertically challenged.
Morris was more of a power runner than you would think.
He was. His legs were. I mean, you look at Barkley's legs. That was Joe Morris. They were damn close.
And, and maybe the best Giants offensive line of all time.
Oh, without a doubt.
They opened up some holes for
system running back.
System running back.
You could have put a guy in crutches behind that line. He would have gotten 3 yards to carry.
Yeah,
no, not necessarily, but. Otis Anderson still, had a rebirth with that offensive line too.
He did.
And he was about as fast as I am now.
Little Train Anderson.
O.J. Anderson.
Big Train.
And then and then the story where he came out and wearing the practice pants because he didn't think he was starting the game, and then he just wound up wearing the practice pants every game because they won that game. That's great.
Well, you know how guys don't wear any padding now. He had he had garbage can lids in his pants. I mean, he had the most enormous thighs of all time, but then also these pads. And so he would lift up his leg and 260-pound linebackers would go flying.
Right.
He was a monster.
He didn't stiff arm them; he stiff legged them.
Maybe one of my favorite Giants of all time.
He was pretty good, but yeah, Joe Morris and Frank Gifford. There you go. All right.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good quiz.
All right, cool.
Well done. These quizzes. Well done, sir. Well done.
I try.
Today's quiz is brought to you by
Mr. Seven.
Brought to you by Mr. Seven.
Forest Dairy for all your scramblage needs. Forest Dairy.
Oh man, I could go for a scramblage right now. I'm a little hungry. So anyway, all right. And a Clinton iced tea.
Do I want to know what that is?
No.
We'll tell you later.
It was the heaviest egg sandwich ever created by the human being.
There was about 9 pounds of eggs with cheese and ham on an English muffin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a
No,
place.
it wasn't. It was a roll.
Well, it was a roll. It was like a hybrid English muffin roll, though. It wasn't like a regular.
It was a hard roll. It was a hard roll.
Yeah, but it was weird the way they cut it.
So. Well, yeah.
There used to be.
And this was breakfast before high school, by the way. You went in and ate it while you were walking across the street, and then you go to.
There was a place down the street from me that I think they actually called it the heart attack on a roll sandwich.
It weighed more than a Chipotle burrito, and this is years before they existed.
Wow, that's pretty.
It was
good.
like the densest. I don't know. I don't know what kind of chickens they got these eggs from, but they were. It was like a lead bomb in your belly.
They were pretty heavy. They were
That's
pretty
good stuff.
Wash it down with a Yoo-hoo and go right to gym class.
Oh yeah,
especially when you had gym first period. That's
right. That's a smart idea.
Oh yeah. God.
Let's bring the kids into school and sweat them up, and have them with their full bellies cramp up and
sandwich cramps.
Just drag them into the shower and
sandwich up and go play some floor hockey for 45 minutes.
I gotta love it. Anyway. On that note, wow. we will finish up. We will wrap up the NFL. There we go.
All right.
All right. So
that
was far too long for the. Well, actually, that was probably a pretty decent amount of NBA or NFL.
It was decent.
NFL time.
Absolutely. All right. Let's move on to a little NBA. I think there's some of that stuff going on now.
Yeah. Hey, listen. No. Atlanta's got it back to down by 15. So.
Yeah.
Injuries. Wow.
I may not be right, but I may not be wrong.
Yes. I gotta offer condolences to Harry and his Nuggets.
Well, I mean, look. I mean, the Nuggets were they're starting backcourt was Frank Campazzo, okay, and Austin Rivers, who wasn't playing basketball when the playoffs started. So, the fact that they got as far as they did, I look, the Nuggets need this Nuggets team is Jokic and whoever they can. I'm not sure some of the moves they made towards the end of the season really paid off. I think Aaron Gordon sort of disappeared a little bit in this series. But having said that, the Suns are a really good team, and the Suns might have the one thing going for them that no other NBA team does. Is that they're healthy and now they're resting.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a year where every star, almost every star, and I'm not trying to curse anybody here, has missed a game or is now currently out? Kawhi's out now. Finally, when you think the Clippers, maybe this is their path to winning a championship, now Kawhi is out. Mm-hmm. Embiid is playing on a torn meniscus. Somehow he's able, he's having a good game tonight. I thought for sure the Sixers he wouldn't be able to play. James Harden comes back and almost loses the game for the Nets. Thank God he has the best player in the NBA on his side.
Yeah.
Look, I do think that this year, and I was talking to some people yesterday. I go, look, Durant's going to come out and he's going to score 40, maybe 45. No, he scored 49 with 17 rebounds and 12 assists or 10 assists. He was unstoppable. And I do think that the Nets can beat anybody, even if Harden or Kyrie don't play, as long as Durant is healthy. I really do think that. Having said
the entire game last night.
Having said that, the Bucks down the stretch, Giannis is just horrible down the stretch of games, and the coaching that came out of the Milwaukee Bucks, he should be gone. It's that bad. Yeah. They were that predictable and that bad. You have to get the ball into his hands. And the ball just stagnated. They gave the Nets the chance to win that game. And look, if James Harden gets his legs underneath him, and he had a horrible game.
I don't think there's anything wrong. I think he was just getting his legs.
Well, yeah,
back,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, if he does get his legs back underneath him and gets back into it 50% of what he's capable of, there's nobody beat. And you can talk all you want about Utah or the Clippers, or if Kawhi's not healthy, the Clippers have no chance.
Right.
It's the Nets' year to win it. I think maybe they're going to have to play a Sixers team, but with a hurt Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant is he is the most efficient player, I think, in the history of the NBA. I think, without a doubt, when he is healthy and on the court, he is the best player in the current game today. And I think the only person that could cover him is now hurt on the Clippers. How the Bucks thought that covering Durant with PJ Tucker again was going to work. If you're a two-time MVP, okay, and the best player supposedly on your team, how are you not stepping up and saying, I got him? How is Giannis not covering Durant? No. I mean, as good as Durant was, he did not have any help from Harden. Joe Harris shot horrible from three-point range.
Yep.
But the Bucks gave up easy layups to Blake Griffin and Harris and some of the other Nets, second stringers, along with one of the best games I've ever seen in recent history by Kevin Durant.
It was insane. I mean, 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists. His numbers were crazy.
And the stats were, I mean, it's almost more dangerous for the Nets when he doesn't have the options that he usually has. He's a fairly unselfish basketball player. And I don't think he always wants to be the guy who has to take that many shots and come out and score 40. But he's certainly capable of it. And I don't think this is the last game like that he's got in him this year. I think if those legs stay underneath him, nobody's beating that team.
No, he's on a goal. He's on a quest, and you could tell. You could just see it in his face last night. It was he can taste it. I don't want to stop basketball really quick, but I just want to give you a quick baseball update. It is going into the top of the ninth. The Mets are up 6-1 against the Cubs right now, and that's with the bullpen for most of the game. And as far as the Yankees go, it's the bottom of the ninth. The Yankees are up 3-2. Chapman's in, 1 out, runners on second and third.
Of course. I've been watching that. Trying not to watch it right now.
Trying not to, yeah. So 1 out though. So
the last time I checked, he'd eat 2.
Well, you know what though? Maybe he intentionally walks to first base and then they go for a double play. What do you think?
Or maybe he not intentionally walks, and then they're set up for the double play anyway.
Right. So,
well, listen, I think I can. Much as I hate to say this, I can still stand by my earlier prediction because the Nets aren't out of the injury woods yet. But I think if Durant is obviously the key to them winning, but. Yeah. Durant and Harden, anybody and Harden, even when he not at 100% or rusty or whatever you want to say, all of his shots were a little bit off to the left. But anybody and Harden is a really good duo. But I think I turned off a game in the end of the third period because it was getting late, and I thought, okay, well, here we go. The Bucks are going to win, 3 in a row, and. So I was as surprised as anyone to wake up and hear the news that the Nets had made the comeback. So they could put it away. I don't know. Philly is. Yeah. Listen, I picked the Hawks as the Cinderella team, and
the Hawks are looking good. Yeah. The Hawks have done more than they had a big comeback the other night. They're not. Yeah. They're not getting blown out tonight. They're holding their own.
No.
Philly's a much better team. The Hawks are kind of a one-man show, and you have to give Trae Young all the credit.
You got to give Trae Young credit.
He's putting on an incredible show.
Philly's all about Embiid, though. I mean, he looked at that end of the game. We said it the other day.
He looked like
he hadn't slept in about 9 years.
He does look like he's 65.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got some good series going on.
So there's a lot going on, and
look, this Phoenix team is better than I think a lot of people thought they were, and they have 3 legitimate stars on that team. Devin Booker might be his breakout year. You don't know.
You don't.
And if Kawhi doesn't play, I mean, Kawhi not playing is that's gonna be tough for the Clippers to do anything.
Yeah. Here's kind of the wrap up, right? He's ruled out of Game 5, and then we don't know after that. Chris Paul is flagged now with the
he's got COVID.
Health and safety protocols, although. They don't play until Sundays. Yeah.
Well, it depends on. I mean, they're not playing. They're not. It depends on if the Clippers and the Jazz go.
He might be able to get COVID.
He might be able to.
Yeah.
He might be able to get out of it before they start. Yeah.
Mike Conley is going to miss Game 5. So,
Mike Conley's a big loss for the Jazz.
Yeah, but he hasn't played so far in the
right.
series. So
that's what I mean.
Right. Kyrie out. And then
tonight's going to be a big game. Utah's got to come out and take control of this. They've got to come out and take advantage of this. Look, if the Clippers win this game, then all this hype about Utah, I think you got to start questioning it. And this is a big game for them. I think it's in Utah, right?
The game is in
Yeah. I mean, at home without Kawhi, they need to win this game. Mm. Not only do they need to win this game, they need to win this game big.
Yeah.
And I think they will. I think they will. Donovan Mitchell's another. I mean, look, one of the things that this is shining a light on, is that Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell are pretty incredible basketball players.
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell's got almost 30. He's averaging almost 38 points a game.
And the Suns are a well-coached team who play tough defense. And people like Ayton, when Chris Paul and Ayton and Booker are playing well together, they're a fundamentally sound basketball team who knows how to move the ball.
Yep.
And they're tough defensively. Yeah. So I think a Utah. I thought it would be the Clippers and the Nets, but if Kawhi can't bounce back here, I think we're going to be looking at a Utah Phoenix finals, and it's going to be interesting. They're kind of similar teams in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I don't think. I think the Clippers will probably get. Well, I don't know if they don't get more.
Kyrie's
George Paul games than playoff P games, then they're sunk. Especially without Kawhi.
Kawhi's only ruled out for Game 5. Is it just
officially ruled out for Game 5? But
I mean, look, the Clippers were barely squeaking by with both of these guys scoring 30 plus.
Right.
And Kawhi, the last game, Kawhi was unbelievable. And all credit to Paul George, he's had some good games.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I just don't think he can carry.
That's what I'm saying. George,
because the Clippers aren't deep. That's the problem. Right. They made some bad moves, and they're not deep.
It's those two guys and nobody else.
Exactly.
And George is the key to it, right? Kawhi's going to be Kawhi. He's going to do what he does. But like I said, whether it's Paul George who shows up at playoff P, if playoff P shows up, it sucks. Even with Kawhi, unless Kawhi's Superman, they're most likely going to lose.
Right.
So,
but bad. These injuries are. It's unfortunate, you just hate to see it. But look, props to Joel Embiid, man. 31 minutes tonight, 12 of 16, 9 of 9 at free throws, 35 points. He's plus 29. I mean, look, that's going to be a hell of a series if Embiid can hold on and be able to make it through a whole series. I mean. I think the Nets Sixers is going to be, kind of what we expected. And the Sixers are a really good defensive team. So it'll be interesting to see what a Ben Simmons can actually do against the James Harden but who covers Durant? That is the question.
That's the question for the
that is always the question. It's been the question whenever he's healthy on the court. Mm-hmm. The only thing that could stop Kevin Durant are his injuries. That's the only thing that can stop him.
Very true. Really quick, did you see the All-NBA first team, second team, third team picks?
I saw some of it. I was looking at it.
All-NBA first team, ready? Steph Curry, Giannis, Luka Doncic, the Joker, and Kawhi.
It's a hell of a team.
All right. All-NBA second team. Dame, Randall, Chris Paul, Joel Embiid, and LeBron. All right.
Is that the healthy LeBron or the hurt LeBron?
It didn't list.
I was surprised. The only person on there that I was surprised with was Randall.
Right.
On the second team. And look, I think he deserves it based on his but there's some other players that had they not maybe had the injuries that they had, they probably would. I think Randall snuck in there because some other players were kind of left off because of their lack of a depth of games played this year.
Yeah, but he was also the man on his team.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, but there's no Durant on either of these teams.
Well, let me figure it. All NBA third team,
right? Which they never used to do.
They didn't do. No, yeah. Rudy Gobert, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Bradley Beal, and Kyrie. Okay. Snubbed. They listed had a snub. Another post had a snub.
The All NBA snub team.
The All NBA snub team.
Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell,
Jason Tatum, James Harden, KD, Trae Young, and Zion.
Yeah.
So
the lack of respect that Donovan Mitchell and
Devin Booker
get is astonishing to me. And I part of me would like to see those two guys play in the Western Conference Finals, because I think you're going to see two of the breakout stars in this league go up against each other. And it's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, look, Utah had the number 1 record in basketball, and Rudy Gobert is the only guy making it on any of those 3 lists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, how's that happen?
and that ain't for offense. The third team number in the first in that place. Yeah.
And I think Gobert does deserve on the third team, because I think Embiid and Jokic are better players and have had better seasons. I mean, they both had incredible seasons.
Right.
But there's a lot of really good players in the NBA right now, especially in the backcourt. Yeah. And when Damian Lillard is a second-team All-NBA, and again, Harden would be on there if he wasn't, if he hadn't been hurt as much as he was.
Yeah, I get the whole Harden thing, but KD, they left off KD
again because of the injuries. He was out almost all year.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't deserve it. He was out almost all year. Now, if you're picking the All-NBA playoff team, then it's KD and who fuck cares? Who else? It's KD, Damian Lillard, and Chris Paul.
Right, exactly.
So far, and Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. It's incredible. Luka Doncic is, and there's some rumblings that Luka's not happy with some of the upper management, and the guy who left, Nelson, who left, he was very close with. I can't see him going anywhere.
Yeah.
But,
no. Well, apparently Porzingis isn't too happy in Dallas either. So.
But Porzingis in Dallas probably isn't very happy with Porzingis. Porzingis has now been the worst decision the Knicks have ever made, and the worst decision the Dallas Mavericks have ever made. Exactly. Because Kristaps Porzingis is just a trouble. He's just trouble, and he's gonna take up some cap room for 3 years, and it's gonna be hard for Dallas to put together some players around Doncic. So maybe Doncic is thinking, where do I go?
Right.
And which gets me back to this point of the Nets sort of built this team, which is fine. It's happened in years past, around their big 3. Right. Here's my question to you guys: do we legitimately would the NBA be better if there was one or maybe 2 other teams that had another big 3? If you could have Doncic, Damian Lillard, and Nikola Jokic playing together on one team, and Giannis, I don't know. I'm just throwing,
Giannis, Kawhi, and
Giannis, Kawhi, and I mean, would it make it? It wouldn't have the parity. But would it make some sense, or do you just take the 76ers and put Kawhi on them? I want to see the Lakers versus the Celtics of the 80s. I want to see the Bulls Knicks of the 90s, or the Bulls Jazz of the 90s. I want to see the San Antonio Spurs, Dallas Maverick. I want to see these type of battles, and we're not. I have a feeling we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that's preventing that and making it a little closer is that the Nets' big 3, they haven't had an opportunity to really play together in the playoffs yet. And hopefully they will, because I think it'll be good for the NBA to see that. But I think we need another big 3 on another team of equal status. Because when you have 3 of arguably the top 10, top 8 basketball players on one team, it's hard. I mean, it's a lot of fun if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan,
right?
But it's not a lot of fun. I don't think it's very good for the NBA.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But I think the only kind of a caveat to that, not a caveat, but like, how long are they really going to stay together? Does anybody think this big 3 team is going to be together for the next?
They're not going to. 2-3 seasons. 2-3 seasons.
It's going to be 3 or 4 at the most. So
3 or 4 is
enough to win. It's enough to win a championship or 2. Yeah.
Yeah, which is right. But I'm saying you don't have those old Celtics-Lakers rivalry.
Dynasty for 8 years.
Okay, but you had the Lakers with Magic and Kareem, but then they went out and they got a James Worthy. They got a Bob McAdoo. They got, Byron Scott came in. There was constantly that refurbishing of that third person. And that could happen on the Nets. It could happen on the Sixers.
But in those days, those guys weren't going anywhere.
No.
Just because they wanted to.
No.
And I think that's the big difference now.
I agree.
But
management went out and they sought out the third
contracts were much different. You didn't have any buyout after 2 years or player option after the third year or whatever.
My point is that you're never going to see a Damian Lillard or Nikola Jokic or a Giannis Antetokounmpo or the list goes on and on and on. Luka Doncic play for a championship if all the pieces don't happen and there's a major amount of injuries, which hopefully will not happen again next year because they'll have hopefully this shortened rest is one of the reasons for this, and it's not going to be a recurring thing.
It's got to be it might not be the only reason, but it's got to be the main reason.
But
part of it.
I would like to see people challenge this. Now you could say, okay, well, last year the Lakers won it, and this year they fell apart. I do think it's fickle, and I do think it's a year-to-year thing. LeBron's getting old. Anthony Davis was hurt. Injuries had a lot to do with that. And they didn't have the big three. They had the big two.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I say the big three is more important now than ever is because this year you're lucky if you have two of those three on the court at the same time.
You need three so that you can maybe have two.
Exactly.
And that's why I think the Suns maybe can come out of the West because they legitimately have three really good players. I'm not saying that Ayton is on the level, or even Chris Paul these days is on the level of a Kyrie or Harden, but they have three guys that can play basketball and who can contribute at the end of the game. And you can't say that about a lot of teams. I mean, you saw it with Milwaukee last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it. Drew Holiday was supposed to be the answer. He isn't. Chris Middleton struggled through and played a pretty good game. He was the only guy who could create his own shot at the end of the game.
Yep.
It's just, I would like, I'm almost to the point of let's have four super teams, and because I think the competition would be better.
Yeah, that's a lot of these teams. They don't have that guy who they don't have a guy who you reliably or very often want to have to put the team on his back. They have guys who can have good games or great games occasionally, but not consistently is the word I'm looking for.
Right.
Guys, you don't want to have to count on them to carry things consistently.
No, you don't.
So.
You don't. So, all right. One last.
Go ahead.
No, you first. Go ahead.
Just a couple quick notes. Well, so speaking, we mentioned Zion Williamson before. Stan Van Gundy out in Nolens. 8 months, 4-year contract. 8 months into it, get out.
See ya.
I don't know. Maybe Zion didn't like him. Maybe he's Van Gundy's rubbed some people the wrong way. That's for sure. But geez, you don't even give him a second season.
Nope. 8 months done. See ya.
That's a little odd to me. Stan Van Gundy's out, and yet people are talking about some of the guys that are being mentioned for coaching the Trailblazers or whoever else. I mean, really, we're going to give Mike D'Antoni another shot. What's his name's out too in Washington.
Yep, Scott Brooks is out.
Scott Brooks,
2 playoff appearances, right, and some respectability this year, but. And Donnie Nelson's gone. With Dallas,
and he was scouting Luka Doncic when he was 14. Not Donnie Nelson wasn't 14.
Donnie Nelson wasn't 14.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic was 14. How old was Luka Doncic if Donnie Nelson was 14?
By the way, the Mets are. I believe the Mets just won and the Yankees won. So
let's double check. The Mets have middle of the ninth. Oh, look at that. Diaz. Oh, somebody gave up to. Nope. Wait.
Oh, it's the bottom of the ninth. I'm sorry. There's 3. It's saying 3 outs though on my ticker.
Yeah, so it's done.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done.
Mets
it's
won.
Done. Mets won. And Yankees.
Yankees won. Yankees won 3-2.
Look at that. He got out of it. Runners on second and third. There was actually runners on second and third with no outs.
I just think he needs to concentrate. I mean, he really is like the character from Major League.
Yeah.
I mean, He's just he's a monster though, Chapman. He is when you see him take the mound, you're just like, it's like Shannon Sharp pitching. I mean, it's just like, wow, that's a big man throwing a ball 101 miles an hour at my head. I don't think I want to do this right now.
That's funny.
The only guy who can hit him, is Altuve when the game's on the line.
There you go.
All right.
Final NBA note. Congratulations to LaMelo Ball for winning the Rookie of the Year.
There you go.
Yeah,
he missed 20 games. It didn't hurt him in the voting. So
20 games is a lot different than missing 32.
Yeah, that's true. But
it is true. I want to point this out too on Instagram. Last night after the game, after the Nets-Bucks game, Allen Iverson posted on Instagram, a picture of KD with the caption, "You are so great." Okay?
Look.
And then, hold on. And then Trae Young commented back, "He's different."
Yeah, all right. All right, Trey. All right, hair club for men.
That was a compliment, though, right? You think that was a compliment?
I think it was a compliment. It was a compliment, yeah.
He is different. He's a unicorn. He's literally a unicorn.
Right.
Yeah. Look, I'm a big Kawhi fan. I think he's great. I think that LeBron, if Kevin Durant can stay healthy and put together and really put together a couple seasons like this, he's gonna eventually, if he has the potential of eventually being in the conversation as one of the top 3 or 4 players of all time.
I agree.
And maybe number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he would definitely be in the conversation of who do you start a team with.
And I will say this, okay? Throughout the course of history, yes, you had your Oscar Robertsons, your Michael Jordans, and what if Oscar played at the same time as Jordan, both in their prime, blah, 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 blah. Kevin Durant's the one player, and I Kawhi maybe, but the jury's still a little bit out on him. Kevin Durant is definitively that one player that I think has some of the characteristics that Jordan does, where he can just really take a team and carry a team on his shoulders. But what Durant does is he makes other players who are not necessarily exceptional way better. Yep. And he did more with the second team of the Nets on the court last night. He had 10 assists. So he had some amazing passes to guys. He made Blake Griffin look like he was 23 again. And so Durant he's a special player. He's a special player.
Yeah, we talk about Jordan passing the ball to Steve Kerr or John Paxson, right? Okay, that was like twice that happened.
Right.
Kevin Durant is as good a facilitator as he is a scorer.
He's really good at everything he does. I hope that his body can become more durable and that he can stay on the floor, because he is the most exciting basketball player since Michael Jordan. He's that good.
Yeah, he is. All right. That'll wrap up NBA for tonight. Quick couple of NHL notes.
Canadians got a 2-0 lead now.
Canadians got a 2-0 lead, and but Vegas obviously has a 1-0 lead over them in the series thus far.
That game 1 was I don't want to say. No, I don't want to say typical. I mean, the Canadians or the Habs, they came out strong. And really, in most of the first period was kind of all them, but then they sort of just disappeared. And a lot of the Knights are a better team, I think, maybe than some people realize.
Well, a lot of that is not the Canadians. It wasn't the Avalanche. It's the fact that this team can come back, and they can come back quickly. They're a really good team.
Yeah,
and 2 good series. I mean, come on. 2 good series. Tampa Bay Islanders. Those have been 2 good games so far.
They are. They were.
Even though the score was not that close, and it was the game felt closer than the final score of the second game.
Well, what did you think about that one? I mean, it obviously didn't have any whatchamacallit on the outcome of the game, but yeah, there were 6 skaters. There were 7 if you count the goalie. There were 7 players.
I think they missed it. They missed it.
They missed it.
They missed it. But it happens. Look. Let's see if the Islanders can bring it home and win.
Well, next 2 games are in
Tampa.
No, they're in New York.
Yeah, New York. That's what I was saying. The last 2 games were in Tampa. Yeah, I mean,
Tampa, yeah.
Look, they did what they needed to do. They won 1 out of 2 on the road. Whether or not that means anything anymore, I don't know. But
well, a lot of talk with this series is, I mean, look, this is the part 2.
Right,
but right from the conference finals of last year.
The Islanders are a team that built on their success last year. A lot of people poo-pooed it as bubble and short season and all that, but look, they're right back where they were, and they look better than they did last year.
Well, that's what people are saying. They learned from that last year. That was a new. I think 16 out of the 17 guys that could suit up are back with the team, and they know what it's like to go now to the conference finals. Tampa Bay, by the way, knows what it's like to go to the conference.
Tampa Bay's a better team.
They're a better team.
On paper, they're a better team, but you got to win the games. I think Montreal's showing something tonight because I think Vegas is a better team on paper than the Canadians. But we'll see.
They're definitely
I would love to see a Canadians Islanders.
That would be
like the 70s all over again.
Yeah, that would be really. That would be good.
When was the last time a major sport championship was held in Montreal?
Last time the Canadians won a cup.
Or was it the Expos?
Or it might have been.
No, they didn't. The Expos never went to the World
Expos never won a World Series. No.
Wow.
Might have been what's the Montreal CFL team?
The first
Alouettes.
Do they even have one anymore?
The first time
I said major sports.
Major sports.
Yeah, I think the Canadian Football League is fairly major.
Well, it's major. It's major in Ottawa. It's not major anywhere else.
The first time the Expos ever went to a World Series was a couple years ago when the Nationals won it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that would be awesome. That would be interesting.
I would just like to say one more thing on a sport we never talk about.
Sure.
Congratulations to Novak Djokovic. That was, beating Nadal on clay was amazing, and that comeback that he did in the finals was something else. He's going to break the all-time record. I hope he does.
You think?
Yeah, I think he's going to. He's got 19 now. He's got 19. So he's going to win. I think he's 34 years old. He's maybe a little past the prime of his career, but not too far. I think he's got 3 or 4 really good years left in him, and I think he can win 2 or 3 more majors.
That would be interesting. I think you're. I think he's got a shot. So,
yeah,
we will see.
Yeah, he's pretty relentless.
He's good.
Yeah.
He is good. So. Yeah. All right.
Good job. Good call. Good note to end on then. All right. On that note, we'll wrap it up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of the shows are also on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday at 7:30. And for those of you that want to just listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Watch enjoy the playoff hockey and basketball. Enjoy your baseball games over the weekend, and have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Take care, and just one final note. I'll leave you with a little cliffhanger. The Hawks are up on the Sixers, 105-104. Good night.
And 1.8 million fans went to see the CFL games in 2019.
1.8 million fans went to see
all of the games.
And the average capacity is 31,000. So they don't have big stadiums, but
there you go.
There you go.
Only 4 announced sellouts, though. So I don't know. I'll have to compare them to some NFL numbers. I imagine they'll be dwarfed.
Yeah. We'll have to get
probably kart racing does better than the CFL.
I still think Todd Rundgren has a #1 album in Canada, so I'm not really quite sure.
He just released it, though.
No, it's just been overtaken by Dark Side of the Moon.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, bye, everybody.
See ya.
Cheers.
Look at the little Tula. She's talking to the producer. Talking to a cat. And a woman in a jumpsuit throws her a grapefruit. By George,